Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you another round of Kaniki Answer Me. And we are joined by co-host Jack, of course, myself, and Josh, the Tottenham guy. And we have a lot to get through today. Keeper crisis is brewing at Tottenham come the end of the season. And we'll be going through Steve Hitchens' transfers and why he's also a massive part of the situation and why we're in it at the minute. I know some people want to give him a buy and stuff like that and make things not his problem, but how he spent the money is not acceptable. And there's a lot more things to get through. Ndombele, Ali, who steps in for Skip because he's suspended at the weekend. You have Romero, who might not make the game at the weekend or could be out for a substantial number of games. So, we have a lot to get through today. But look, Jack, my man, how are you keeping?
Nice, David. Doing all right. Had a nice pre-match, meal that, didn't involve any ketchup or any brown sauce at all, trying to be on the healthier trend like a lot of these players. But yeah, keeping all well. It's good to have Marcelo back, the absolute GOAT, the guy that I can't wait to hear some of his answers for some of the questions tonight. And we also got the fire and the passion with Josh below me here. I'm looking forward to it. A fantastic panel as per usual, David. And Kaniki Answer Me time, favorite time of the week.
No, it definitely is. Look, it is time to introduce the GOAT. The guy that really, I'll have to say, he did help me get the channel up and running, to be fair. He gave me every hour under the sun. So let's welcome him, Marcelo. My man, how are you keeping?
I'm doing good, David. Ready for another great show, another great season for Tottenham. And up and coming, Antonio Conte, ready to change things. One more to be excited about. Come on, let's go.
Ooh.
That's what we're talking about. And of course, we're joined by Josh, the Tottenham guy. My man, a new channel started up. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Josh, how are you keeping?
Thank you very much for the kind words there, David. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing really, really well. I'm excited to answer some of these questions. Obviously, I've got some strong opinions on all of them. So let's make this controversial. Let's go.
No, look, this is what it's about. Look, even me and Jack were having a debate earlier on before we even got to the question. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But look, as always, before we do get into it, let's see what Harris Army are in the building here with us. We are joined by Tottenham Tantrum. He says, ladies and gentlemen, time is here. And now, so from New York, Jack states, Jack Stats, man, Kaniki from Ireland. He needs no introduction. The undisputed, undefeated Spurs fan in the world. David, the Irish Hotspur Harris. Big up, Dermot. Absolutely love
it. Lift the belt, Dave.
No, not yet. I'll only ever lift that belt if we get to like 1 million subscribers, Jack. George says, hello, everyone. Come in. Number 23. Big yourself up. Steady Agents in the house. I hope you're keeping well, man. We also have Kuva. He's in the building. Big yourself up. Let's do as we have. They were having a good discussion amongst themselves. We also have Noah Jorgens. Everyone like and subscribe to the Irish Hotspur. You tell him, Noah, my man. You make sure anyone that new comes in today, you get on their case, my man, and you get to subscribe. Adam is in the house. Big up, Adam. I won't be too active in the chat tonight, lads. I had a lot of college work to get done. Don't worry. I'll be listening to everything while doing the work. I never abandon the Harris Army. That's the dedication to Adam. But look, if we do get too distracted, my man, do turn it off. College is important. Make sure you get your grades and your exams, my man, over everything else. But big yourself up, Adam. We also have Catman Jess. Come on to you, Harris Army, the Flat Cap Army. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Faz Rafar's in the house. Big up, lads. Always going well until the news of Romero's injury. Hope not too serious. We need him for the upcoming matches. That we certainly do, my man. That we certainly do. Let's wait and see what the news is. And we also have Chris. He says, evening. Oh, big up, everyone. Big up, Chris. I hope you're keeping well, my man. We also have James Watson in the house. He says, big up, lads, in chat. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, James Watson. I hope you're keeping well. We have the Spurs fan. He says free Joe Exotic. Yeah, the new Joe Exotic series is out today. I watched the first 2 episodes, man. It's getting interesting. Big yourself up. Aaron Miguel Escobardo, Vamos, Harris Army, and Flat Cap Army, all the way from Lagos. Big yourself up, my man. We have JC in the house. Big up, lads. Romero gone for a few weeks. Big blow. Yeah, it is. But if you look at the run of fixtures, it probably couldn't have maybe come at a bit of a better time. You look at some of the games, we should have enough to get through them, really. You know what I mean? And look, let's get him back for the big one, the Liverpool-West Ham Cup quarter-final. That's the ones we want him back for. Ken the Long Shot, big up Spurs family, all the greats in here today. Chris Coover, Dermot, and the list goes on and on. Big yourself up, Ken the Long Shot. Kane. Hope you're keeping well. We also have Shamu in the house. Get those likes in, fam. Kindly smash that like button. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Sean Snow's with us as well. Hello, lads. Big up. He's going to absolutely love the Tanguy debate later. Tanguy's biggest
big up,
fan.
Sean.
Well, actually, he has to fight Jack for that. But Alfie Gosling says, hi, lads. Love the content. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big up, Alfie. Aaron Dove is in. He says, hi, all the regular thugs. Big yourself up.
Big up, Aaron.
Elias is in the house. Hello, guys. Big yourself up. Big up, Elias. I hope you're keeping well. You also have Jack Chamberlain. He says, need a solid keeper for next season. I think Kanana would be a great keeper. I think he's in prison or going to prison.
I think he's going to enter. Oh, no.
Yeah, supposedly he's going to the Serie A. I think Marcelo's spot on there, but coming transferring from Prison FC to somebody in the Serie A. So big up.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens for him anyway. Henry Wright TV says, big up Jack and David. Big up Henry. I hope you're keeping well, man. Big yourself up.
Big up Henry.
Regulars also in the house. Big up the regular. Mary W says, I love you guys. Thank you so much. We love all of our fans out there. Big yourself up, Mary. I hope you're keeping well. Let's see who else we have. In the building. We have Moondog. Moondog is in here to join with us tonight. He says, good evening, guys. In Conte we trust. That we do, Moondog. That we definitely do. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well, Moondog. We also have Henry Wright with the super chat as well. He says, smash that like button, people. Big yourself up, Henry. Really appreciate that, my man. Mr. Spurs is in the house. Will be an interesting watch this, lad. It definitely will, my man. Definitely will. All I'll say to you, my man, is just keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind, my man. Just keep an open mind. Big yourself up. He completely disagreed with us last week, Jacko. Paranormal, big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. MJ Joseph's in the house. Big yourself up. He's Jamaica's biggest Tottenham fan. Big yourself up. Big yourself up, man. Keeping well. We have Pete from the lane. Big up, lads. Looking forward to this. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Pete. I hope you're keeping well, brother. My man. We also have Keith Hicks. He says, Marcelo, where have you been hiding?
I've been working, my man. I haven't been hiding. I've been working. Been trying to make the moolahs, just everyday grind. But every time I told David, if I have free time, I will go to your channel and your channel first every time. And people would think we have beef. It's far from it. It's honestly far from it. I've declined. I told David, if I have time and I can come in, you're the number one priority, man. You're my guy.
No, I don't know where people think this beef has come from. Hilarious. I really don't, but big yourself up, honestly. And in fairness, he has. Anytime I've come calling, you know what I mean? And he is free yet, no problem. I want to get on. So big up. We also have Oliver Freeman. Big up, lads. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you're keeping well, Oliver. Sean Mitchell's in the house. Big up, lads. Good to see the full squad out tonight. Come on, Sean. Hope you're keeping well. What a man. I hope you and the kids are keeping well. Big yourself up, my man. Ribsy85 says, good day, lads. Good to see everyone. Ribsy all the way from down under. Hope you're keeping well, lad. Shane O'Neill's in the house. Watch the documentary on Conte win the league with Chelsea and his methods. I'm getting very horny for what might happen to us. Leave it up to Spurs fans to leave me flaccid, though. No, look, I'm getting ready for it. I can't wait for it. I'm definitely going to embrace it, my man. Mark Cousins says, big up, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you flat cap army. Big yourself up. Danny's in the house. Big up, Danny. We also have Ellie. All right, lads, evening, and a massive big up to all you. And let's all hope Conte has worked his magic with some of our fringe players and the feature and show why Conte is the Don. I couldn't agree more. Brian McGuire's in the house. Says, come on, you Spurs. Tommy G. Yeah, Marcelo, where you been? He's been
fighting with David Green, apparently. That's what it is.
Big up, Clement. We also have Mac in the house. My man, Mac. Hope you're keeping well. Ollie Han, big up, lads. Glad to have you boys on to help me through my work tonight. What a treat. Big up, my man. Big yourself up. Now we have Kuva99 with the super chat. Says, big up, lads. Great guest on tonight who don't mind giving it both barrels take cover because hostages will be taken. Big up, Josh and Marcelo. It's definitely going to be an absolute corker of a show. Honestly, as soon as Marcelo confirmed, I was already getting a hard on. You already know it's going to be a good topical debate. You know what I mean? And then getting Josh on board is like, that's just adding the spice. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a very, very interesting, very, very interesting show, Cooper. But that's for sure. And look, I'm not exactly a quiet guy either, my man. But big yourself up, Cooper. Really appreciate the support. And you were brilliant on the last one, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, killed it.
Everyone really enjoyed listening to you. So big yourself up, my man. And we also have Matthew Collins and we have Jerry in the house as well. So big yourselves up. Everybody, before we do get into it, make sure you smash that like button. Absolutely obliterate that subscribe button. The big push to 5K is on before the 21st November, which would be the year anniversary of the channel. Let's see if we can get it to 5K. If not, won't be too disappointed. It just means I'll have a nice Christmas present around the corner, hopefully, but let's see how far we can push it. And guys, feel free, like so many before, Henry Wright, Moondog, Pete from the Lane, Cuva99, guys, feel free to get your super chats in. It is a great way to support any channel, any content creator out there. Honestly, the amount of stuff that I didn't even know this coming into it, but that to pay for subscriptions and everything else, it's absolutely incredible. So it is a massive, massive help, guys. And of course, like you see, it does go back into the channel. You know, it likes with stats with Jack and everything else like that, that you see that's come from last year. That's different from last year to this year and all that sort of jazz. So it is a massive help. If you can't, no worries. We will include everybody. We will get your thoughts and your comments up on screen. And do not worry, plenty of people in the chat will be waiting to debate you on your comments. So everybody, basically, pick yourselves up. But Jack, it's time to hand over to you. Let's get into the swing of things, my man. Let's take Marcelo.
Yeah, we're going to give it to Marcelo. And as always, everybody, please give your thoughts and your answers to all these questions that will come up during Kanicki Answer Me. We will start with the GOAT here. And Marcelo, Spurs are going to be having a big goalkeeper problem this upcoming summer with Hugo Lloris contract expiring in 2022. Golini, of course, is on loan, and his can maybe be done after 2022 as well. Alfie Whiteman's contract will be done in 2022, and Brandon Austin's will be done in 2022, which is basically all the keepers that we have on our book, by the way. So what would you say? Is this going to be Hugo's last hurrah? And maybe considering all this in mind, Marcelo, is it maybe more imperative or maybe a bit, sad, circumstances that we almost should maybe extend, Golini's kind of scenario? Because we almost have 4 keepers that might be out the door after the end of this season.
Nah, as far as Golini, I'm sorry, man. Maybe he has spaghetti sauce in his hands because that guy can't save a goal to save his life.
Especially outside the box.
Could not catch a cold.
Could not catch a cold. That guy. No, he cannot be our first choice keeper. If I'm Daniel Levy, I mean,
even a second choice, just to what would you say? Take him as a second choice again?
Man, you see, the thing is, I would take him as a second choice just because goalkeepers don't often get injured, and if it's not really an important game like a group stage, I'll just throw him in there, right? But in my opinion, I think we should go all out and try and renew Hugo's contract.
Yeah. Because
let's be honest here, what other better goalkeeper can we really get other than Hugo that's available in the market? There's not I can maybe think of Martinez maybe from Aston Villa. Maybe we can
be project keepers. Yeah,
but
keepers
he's
you
not,
have to wait time on. Yeah,
he's not better than Hugo. You know what I mean? In my opinion, Hugo, he's a Spurs legend. He's still 33. Goalkeepers you've seen as what's his name? The guy in Inter. I forgot. Handanovic. He's 40 something. He's still he won the Serie A. So goalkeepers can go, until their late 30s. So I would say keep Hugo. Try to keep him at the club. If he doesn't sign until January, then we obviously have to look for replacements. But in my opinion, we should do everything to try to keep the guy because there's no one better than Hugo right now. No one better.
There's no better cat in the business. He's honestly still got the cat-like saving ability. But William Kelly in here with the super chat, which is a huge one as well. Big up, William Kelly. He says Romero's injury is just going to push Conte to buy. Here's a question for you boys. What if we don't buy any players in January? Always remember, a leopard never changes his spots. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm more of a realist. I know you're more of a realist, especially more than I am, actually, William Kelly, especially more than I am. But will we have no signings in January? Again, I probably like to be that guy that thinks that maybe a leopard changes its spots every once in a while. But I don't know. I think there are going to be some signings, and definitely with this Romero injury bearing in mind, I feel like, it certainly is going to have to be some changes, especially at least in the, backup striker position, especially in the midfield. We need some updating, maybe if we move on a couple of players in January as well, that could then free up some room, in the wages to be able to bring in, a nice player into the business. But what do you say, David? I know he is being a realist, but I'd like to think that we will bring in somebody this January window, and maybe with Romero's injury as well, it's only further reason to.
Do you know what? I do think we will bring in a player or two this window. I do think we'll get one or two, and I'll be honest with you. I don't think they're looking at centre-back right now. I think they're looking at a ball-playing midfielder. I really do. Look, and unless Ndombele or Lascelles or Ali can pull a rabbit out of the hat over the next month or two, I honestly believe Conte will be looking at a midfielder because, look, if we're not going to keep clean sheets, you're going to have to start out scoring teams. Right now, we can't score goals. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to link that defense to the midfield, to the strikers at some point. And a ball-playing midfielder is going to be the one to do it. I think Conte will be hinging everything on that. I'd be surprised if we go for a defender this time round. I think summer will be the time we might go again for a defender. I think Conte might look at it. I think he might think he'll have enough there with Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer, Davies, and Rodden. I don't think he does. I would like to see a defender come in. Let's just clarify that. But I'll be honest with you, I think they may be looking at a striker and more importantly, a midfielder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree. They probably are going to be looking at either getting Brozovic or Cassier into the building, and that might be the biggest priority. And then getting that backup striker, especially if you were to get a nice little Dusan Vlahovic, that certainly would be nice. But what do you feel like, Josh? Are we going to sign anybody this January window? Big up William Kelly. Just to
I think we need. I don't think it's a case of if we will sign. We need to sign. Like there's no if buts or maybes about it. There's so much lack of depth in the squad right now, and lack of competition for the likes of Harry Kane, the likes of the Son doesn't really have any competition, nor does Mora. Like these players are kind of dead certs in the squad, and it's always healthy. Any competition is healthy competition. There needs to be some kind of competition in the squad. Make the players fight for their place and bring out the best in each other. As a team, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bring out the best in each other. So we need to make the signings in order to do so. Kessié is 100% needs to come in. Vlahovic needs to come in. I'm sort of like neglecting the term backup striker at the moment because I don't see a world in where Dusan Vlahovic plays backup to Harry Kane. Yeah. It's going to be a case of it's going to be who performs better in training. That's what it's going to be. It won't be a backup striker. He's not going to come in when Harry Kane's injured. There are going to be games where we see Vlahovic. There are going to be games when we see Harry Kane. But it's almost a dead cert. Exactly, healthy competition. There needs to be some sort of depth in competition in the squad.
Definitely. Well said. And to William Kelly, there you are. It seems like the whole panel seems to think that we are going to get some people in, but you will definitely come with us maybe on February 1st and tell us, I told you so. I'd like to say that, you're definitely more of a realist than me. I'm definitely more of an optimist, but pick yourself up, William Kelly. Really appreciate it, brother. David, to you, the question regarding, the keeper situation, all these keepers, whose contracts are expiring in 2022. I mean, does this maybe give you reason to maybe consider, re-signing Galini to be that backup goalkeeper? Or do you feel like it's more imperative that we just, keep Hugo at the club as much as possible?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not convinced by Galini. Look, it was a good move in terms of getting Joe Hart out of the club and bringing this guy in as a backup to Hugo Lloris. Look, as far as I'm aware, the club and Hugo Lloris haven't even talked about a new contract. It is a bit worrying considering come January, Hugo Lloris can...
start negotiating with other clubs.
Negotiating with clubs in terms of a move in where he's going in the summer. And I think that probably might be the likely case he's going down. If you listen to some of his words of late over the last year or two, he's pissed off. He look, he's still performing that, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to give it much longer here, to be honest with you. I think this will be the final season of Hugo Lloris. I would love for them to give him a new contract. I really do. I think, get him in for another year or two. It buys you time to really get the proper replacement. But this should already be in place. I think, look, I think me, you, and Marcelo, Jack have been talking before, maybe even last year, that they need to start looking for Hugo Lloris's replacement. They should already be start looking and start scouting. So hopefully that is the case. But look, it's worrying. Look, I think they probably will pay. I think it's 15 million for Galini. I think if they do want him or something like that. I think they probably will trigger that to get him in the summer to have him there. But they still need to go out and buy another option. Alfie Whiteman or Austin, they're just not good enough. Their contract is up. They might give Alfie Whiteman a little more time. I'd say Brandon Austin, I'd probably be looking for a new club. But even Alfie Whiteman could too. So it's a very, very worrying time at the minute, because you also look at other areas in the squad we need improving. We probably could do with another winger or two. Another midfielder, striker, one or two defenders. Now we could be in a position where we're also looking to go and get a world-class goalkeeper. We've all seen Galini from shots outside the box. He's a bit like Joe Hart. I don't know what it is with backup keepers, but they can't deal with them, especially in Europe against some semi-decent teams. You know what I mean? So, look, for me, I'm not sure. I think they'll have to go into the market next summer, definitely, to buy one, 100%. And look, we have Lloris until then, but they better already have their solution and who they want to go after.
Yeah, I kind of agree in that situation. I feel like my personal belief is that considering we're going to have to sign at least 2 keepers, it feels like this is something that, maybe the club is somewhat procrastinated, almost like maybe some of us even procrastinate maybe a bit of the homework. It feels like that's what definitely Spurs have done in this case, which just means we probably have to pay the price for it. And I would argue that we either need to, extend Hugo's contract and then get someone else instead of Galini as that backup keeper / future first team keeper, or we just kind of bite the bullet and accept that Galini might have to be the backup keeper for some time and then replace Hugo with someone who we think could be ready. But you don't really want to just bring in a whole new keeper right away, and just expect him just to replace Hugo. You probably want, Hugo to at least have one more season with us and then have him compete with somebody that can definitely be able to take over his gloves eventually. So it is kind of something I feel like the club has actually procrastinated for some time, which is very disappointing if you ask me. But I feel like we can move on maybe to the next question. I feel like we got some great answers from everybody there. So this one is going to be about the Tanguy and Ndombele, Josh. So, with Skip suspended next match, Højbjerg also has a bit of an injury doubt at the moment. Tanguy and Ndombele is turning 25 next month and has been reported now, Josh, apparently to be in the best shape of his career. Antonio Conte has said he wants to revive his career, but he also wants to revive Dele Alli's. This international break was a great opportunity for both of those guys to impress Antonio Conte. Will we see, Josh, the best of Tanguy and Ndombele this coming Sunday and maybe in the future?
I think people say that the reports that Tanguy and Ndombele is in the best shape of his career after 2 weeks, I think, is a bit of a reach. It takes a lot longer to be in a perfect shape for football. He will show slight signs of improvement, but I genuinely don't think we're going to see a completely different Tanguy and Ndombele. In terms of Dele Alli, I mean, how many managers have come in and said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to try and turn Dele Alli around," and then have given him 1 or 2 games, and then he's flopped straight afterwards. Like, this is Dele Alli is the personification of ego. That is literally all he is. He's more interested in doing other things other than playing football. He's too complacent with the position he's in now.
If you had to bet on one or the other, maybe actually reviving themselves under Conte, would you put your money on Tanguy over Dele?
Oh, well, I'd go quick. I'd go all in on Tanguy and Ndombele, 100%, because there is a player there. There's a reason we paid £56 million for him, and it's because there is a player there that can show world-class potential. Dele Alli's past it. Dele Alli peaked at 24 and then he fell off.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think I think we're yet to see the best out of Tanguy and Ndombele. There have been performances where he has played extremely well, but again, it's all about it's the consistency that's the issue, and hopefully Conte can start getting Ndombele to sing a tune, and we start seeing that consistency, which I can genuinely see happening. I mean, there's a reason that Conte brought in 3 fitness coaches and one specifically for Ndombele, and it's because he sees potential. We know that he loves Ndombele, hence why he went for the trade offer when he was at Inter Milan for him, to which we rejected. There is going to be a team built around that midfield, around Ndombele, and Ndombele will shine in that squad.
Wow, there you go. And I definitely would probably say that's just Tanguy's issue at the moment. It's just consistency. But if you compare him to Dele Alli, we know that Tanguy actually has the skill and has the talent and has the ability in comparison to Dele Alli, where it's with Dele Alli, we're not even questioning the consistency anymore. We're basically just questioning if the talent is even there yet or even in him anymore. And Galini, though, Kuva99 answering the question from before, and like maybe following Kuva's footsteps, anybody, if you want to answer maybe any of the questions on Kaniki Answer Me and you really want the panel to discuss yours, feel free to throw it in a super chat. And Kuva99 saying Galini has more of a chance of one of his rap tracks making #1 and getting a glove sponsor with "I Can't Believe It's Not Butter" than taking over from Hugo. I mean, seriously, the guy, honestly, Marcelo with Galini,
I would take.
I don't know. Galini, he also has bags under his eyes most matches, I will say as well. I'm actually wondering what Galini is doing. Maybe he's actually performing most of his rap concerts after he finishes the games at around 8 p.m., shows up to his concert at 1 a.m., and then turns up to training at 7 a.m. It looks like the guy's not even getting any sleep at the moment. Not even kidding. He has huge bags under his eyes even when I watch him.
You know what puzzles me is that, why would we pay $50 million for Golini? Just going back and answering Kuva's question, why would we pay $50 million for Golini when I think Sam Johnstone is going to be free the next summer, and he's a 10 times better keeper, and he's English, so he fills the the home quota.
You're right.
Like why not go for that guy? Why are we doing some of these things? I just don't get it. We try to go cheap, but sometimes we also go stupid. with this club, but that's my answer to that. But yeah, Hugo
Marcelo
has to
putting
be
on his
number one.
transfer operator flat cap right there. Well said, actually. Sam Johnston is certainly a fantastic alternative, especially on a free. Marcel, you did your homework on that one. Well done, my man. Well done. I feel like that would be a great alternative to Galini. And then probably, Marcel, if we extend, that contract with Lloris, we have Sam Johnston as potential fill in for a number one. If not, get two keepers and have Sam Johnston and someone else compete for that spot.
Right there.
Two ideal scenarios, and maybe no more Galini. And then no more Galini. Faz Radfar saying, why can't we play Kane and Vlahovic together? I mean, I don't know why we can't. We should be able to. We certainly should be able to. Faz Radfar, I completely agree, my man. I feel like with Vlahovic, you're getting something actually different than Harry Kane. He's actually somebody I think will translate to the Premier League very well. He likes the physical contact. Almost David might say, I think he has said this before, almost gets kind of a sick chubby probably from some of the physical contact that he does in the Serie A. He loves to have people pulling on him. He loves that physical duel in the air. He also loves being kind of pushed around in the box. Honestly, the guy, he sometimes just throws people to the floor, almost Lukaku style or even Holland style at times as well. I love Dusan Vlahovic. I don't say why we can't have him, maybe challenging for that up front position, especially in the 3-5-2. Harry Kane and him up top be absolutely class. I think even, a team like Burnley would lick their lips over something like that.
This is what I'm saying. Like, there isn't a world where we don't see Kane and Vlahovic playing together. Anyone that's followed Conte across his career knows that he plays 5 at the back, 3 centre halves, and 2 strikers. Hence why the discussion about the deep line playmaking midfielder is coming into play. We need someone that can drop back into that space but also make plays. This is the formation that he goes with. He always goes with 5 at the back, 2 wing backs, and 3 centre halves. He doesn't play a CDM, doesn't play a cam. It's 3 centre halves, and then he always plays 2 strikers. So yeah, there is a world where we see that happening.
And the long shot saying no ketchup Tanguy is the future. Yeah, maybe a ketchup-less Tanguy is definitely potentially the future for us. I'd like to say though, maybe there was a fantastic answer, brought up before from Josh, which is the case is just consistency is maybe only Tanguy's issue, where we know the ability is there, we know the talent is there, we certainly know the tackers are there, and then also as well, he can turn it on when he wants to, which definitely has pissed off a lot of fans that he turns it on when he wants to. But in comparison to Dele Alli, you just would say like, Dele Alli, the consistency isn't there. The talent is questionably not even there anymore. The ability is probably not even there anymore. And as well as the attitude, we certainly know is not there anymore. So the only thing with Tanguy is just that one thing, and that's consistency. Whether, Conte can find that within, Tanguy to kind of get that through him. And then you'd probably be seeing one of the best midfielders in the entire world. And that's kind of the big thing with Tanguy is it's just one little factor, and he could be, on his day, he is one of the best midfielders in the world. So that's where it's, kind of the case with Tanguy. But David, catch-up-less Tanguy, maybe that could be the future.
Yeah, look, I hope so. But let's be honest, you could just pop into the shop on the way home and get a bottle if you really wanted it. You know what I mean? And double up at home with the steak or whatever else is he's eating. Look, for me, do you know what? I keep hearing, Tanguy's this, Tanguy's that. He's the fittest he's ever been. He can play cam. He can play deep line midfielder. He's the answer to all our problems. He is if he's fit. But the thing is, he's been here nearly 3 years now, and he's not fit enough. And that's the biggest issue. He cannot do it on a constant basis on the way we need it in this team. We need someone that's going to because if we get that ball-playing midfielder, he's going to be the most used player in our squad. He's going to be the one taking the balls from the defenders, giving it to the midfielders, receiving it again, getting it up to the forward line. You know what I mean? He's going to be that guy. He's going to be one of the main used players in the team. And I'm sorry, look, unless Conte is bringing in, someone with him that's going to sit down in the kitchen and guard the presses at night and everything else, you know what I mean? And then get him up early in the morning, get him doing the weights and everything else. Look, I want Tanguy to succeed. I really do. I think he has all the attributes to be one of the best midfielders in world football if he wanted to. But the problem is he doesn't. How many managers have we had now that cannot tap into here with him? Look, we can put all the resources into him we want. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think we're going to see much change because, as well, you look at it, if he really wanted to perform and he really wanted to be better, why didn't he go and get himself a fitness coach before this? And it comes down to that mentality, that desire. Top players don't have to be told to go and what to do. If they need a psychiatrist or they need something, they will go and source it in order to aid their game. The only thing this lad is saucing is Big Macs at the minute, and that's not good enough. Look, for me, I want to see him on a consistent basis, and he's going to have to be super fit to play the role we need him.
It's a huge chance for Tanguy to prove us wrong. I'll tell you that. It's a huge chance. Big up King the Long Shot. Big up Faz Radfire. Absolutely fantastic comments. Tottenham Tantrum saying Delhi's past his best now. We can't keep giving Delhi a chance. Sell him to Newcastle. Get him out now. The club, get him out the club now. Delhi thinks more about Love Island than Spurs. Yeah, definitely. So it seems like, David, he wants to be on Love Island maybe more than even probably being in the starting 11.
Yeah, look, for me, again, he's another player. Look, how many more chances you need to give him? I'll be honest with you. I was watching, Jack, you sent me a quote the other day from Jose Mourinho to Dele Alli, and it was like, he's telling them, before you know it, you'll be my age. You know what I mean? He still hasn't took that advice off board.
Your career is by in a snap, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if you don't like the man, he's telling you from his experience, who's been in the game, before you know it, your career will be over and you'll be sitting where I am. You know what I mean? Done and dusted, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I just don't think the guy gets it. For me, why do we keep persisting with players? If you want to be a top club, you want to win trophies, get them out and get in players that will do the job. It's that simple.
Yeah, it feels like we blank. We were blinking, and now it's all of a sudden Dele Alli's 25 years old. Everybody, I mean, seriously, turning 26 this season as well. It feels like we just blinked, and then all of a sudden, Dele Alli's, reaching to a degree, past those.
I've won more medals than Dele Alli in my wrestling years. Think about that. I'm 24. At high school, I was more dedicated than Dele Alli. I couldn't believe. Listen, people are joking about this, but I couldn't believe the things I was hearing, that these guys were eating barbecue sauce and ketchup. I didn't eat ketchup when I was wrestling. You know how much sodium ketchup has? Ketchup holds water. It holds water in your system. That's how you bloat. 3 packets of ketchup. It has 95 grams of sodium. That's 300 grams of sodium.
Sounds like Antonio Conte needed to hire you for the nutritionist.
Bro, I was shocked. I was shocked these guys were having barbecue sauce, ketchup. I didn't have none of that shit. It was chicken and rice every day. You sprinkle a little bit of salt. That's it. That's what you got to go through as an athlete, bro. You got to go through the suffering if you want to be a champion. If you want to go... You have to go through the fire. You have to want it. And this is where I'm going to go with the discussion. You don't even have to ask me, Jack. I'm ready. I'm hopping in. I'm tapping David in. I just teamed in. All right. Because you know what? I'm tired of hearing this Dele Alli and Ndombele talk of who's going to get the best of who's going to come back, bro. You know what? They have to prove it to us. All right. Because I'm sick and tired of just like, oh, yeah, give him more time. No. I'm not giving him any more time. As far as I'm concerned, I want Ndombele. I want Dele Alli out. Because you know what? They don't want to be in this club. So if they don't want to be in Tottenham, they can go fuck themselves. All right? So until they prove it to me, to David, to Josh, to everybody here, right? Then my opinion still stands. Until they get 10 games, until Ndombele, people would say after the Newcastle game, oh, look at you. You have pie in your face. Oh, look at that. And then he goes and just, does a complete no-show against West Ham, bro. Until this guy puts in a full season, come talk to me. All right? Because I've been hearing the same thing over and over and over and over again about these Ndombele lovers. That they're like, oh, you're just a hater. I'm not a hater, man. I'm just speaking facts. All right? My eyes don't lie, bro.
I mean, the guy at one point, Marcel, when he joined under Pochettino, he said he wanted to leave within a few weeks. I'm a big Tanguy fan, but he said he wanted to leave within a few weeks because the training was too hard. Yeah.
Too intense. And this man you think he's gonna thrive under Conte, who's taking away his favorite fucking Happy Meal, bro. Like, come on now. Let's be serious now, man. The guy is just not a serious footballer. The fact that if you for me, 90% of these players are not serious footballers. If I said it. Look, I was Jose out, right? I thought Jose, didn't do his thing. But, when that news saying, oh, it's Jose's fault that these players were fit. Hold on a second. Are you a professional athlete? Me at 15 years old, I didn't have my coach holding my hand and telling me, hey, Marcelo, you can't eat that if you want to cut weight. Hey, Marcelo, you can't eat that if you want to stay healthy, if you want to stay in shape. Hey, Marcelo, here, let me hold your hand. These are millionaires, bro. 20 years old.
You don't need to pay me 90 grand a week to not eat ketchup.
Some of them are fucking they have kids, bro, and they look like and they sounding like children. They need the coach to hold their hands and be like, oh no, Dele Alli, put the fucking barbecue sauce down. Come on now, man. It's a joke. These players are jokes. And this whole crack as well, just like Mr. Spurs says here about 3 different managers, this, that, and the other, it's horse crap. They didn't complain about it when they were coming through the ranks and they were best players in their teams and they were going through different managers every year. So why is it a problem now? Look, at the end of the day, whatever manager comes in, it's up to you to get into his team. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's the way it was for me growing up. It was the way it was for a lot of people growing up. You don't just walk in. It's up to you to get into the manager's team. You do what the manager wants. The problem with these guys is they don't want to do what the manager wants. If the manager's asking them to do something they don't want to do, they cause a problem. They start going around mouthing, bitching and everything else to the other players around the team and everything else. And ultimately, they all form together and then they get the manager out. And it's a problem at this club. We're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to get any higher unless these players start going the manager's way. And Conte is that man. If you're not in his plans, you're gone. And he won't accept it, or else he's going to walk. And if this guy walks because they won't get rid of players that he wants gone, it's just going to cause absolute.
We're gonna go under. We're honestly, if my fear is right, because Nuno, we all knew wasn't good enough. We just knew it wasn't good enough. Nobody here can tell me that Antonio Conte is not good enough for Tottenham. There's none of you can convince me, right? So if these players fail Antonio Conte and Antonio Conte walks, this club is fucked. If this club chooses the players again over the manager, we are fucked. We have to stand by the manager. These players who don't want to be part of the manager's team has to absolutely go. If he tells Ndombele to run and he walks, get the fuck out of my club. Go back to Leon. We'll sell you for $1.50 and a Happy Meal. I don't care. I don't care how much money we spend on him. I don't care. People say, oh, he's our highest, transfer bid. He's our highest, paid player, whatever. I don't care, bro. You know what I mean? You know what this is telling me? We paid too much for him. Bad business. Move on. Look, it happens.
We do this with a ton of players, though. You look at Steven Bergwijn, got his move to Tottenham, went and got himself a nice big massive sports car. He's still yet to be seen. Look, people make excuses about the rage and everything else. These guys are old enough to go out on foreign holidays together, let loose, party, have women hang around them and everything else. So they're old enough to get their life in off the field to make sure they succeed. Look, I have no problem what they do with their downtime. As long as you're putting in all the tools to succeed on the pitch. As long as you're succeeding on the pitch. There's no excuse for Tanguy and Ndombele. There's no excuse for Dele Alli. Paul Gascoigne, he used to be absolutely laddered playing games. He'd walk out after nights out, and everything else. He'd come in and they'd put in a shift. There's no excuses for it. Players in the olden days used to smoke at halftime, have a couple of drinks and everything else. There's no excuses for these guys. There's absolutely none. They have all the modern technology available to them. Look, it's all well and good remembering Dele Alli's, goal against Crystal Palace where he soloed it and then volleyed it. Great. But he's not that player anymore. His desire, his hunger, and his passion is gone. It's gone. Yeah. People could say it doesn't die, but it does. If it hasn't died, he would have put the stuff in place already. He shouldn't be told what to do. At the end of the day, football's a ruthless game. You either succeed or you fall. And at the minute, we have too many players here that they just don't care. They're on big wages and they could not give it to us. And they know that they're in a position where they can just moan and cry, and get a manager out and get another one in. We have to put a stop to this rot sometimes. We have to stop persisting and saying, we have to do this for Dele. We have to now play Dele as a striker. No. Now we have to comb his hair and plait it before he goes out to make him happy. We have to massage Ndombele, feed him a Big Mac, and wash it down with Coke after for him. I'm absolutely sick of it. With Steven Bergwijn, we need to play him in a run of games and get his confidence. The guy can't even control the football. At the end of the day, what's a run of games going to? If he needs a run of games to be able to control the football, I'm sorry. But we have to stop this at Tottenham.
Yeah. It's creating a toxic atmosphere. It really is. And
it is. It is. But the thing is, right, Steve Hitchens is responsible for a lot of this. Maybe not Dele Alli's case and that, but he's responsible for a lot of the players that have been and gone since, right? He's allowed that culture to kind of set in. But at the end of the day, we can't. It's dangerous. It's dangerous for any new players coming into the team. It's dangerous for any youngsters in and around the team, any youngsters in the academy that's looking up and seeing this crap. It's dangerous because eventually what will get out is word will get out, right? That Tottenham is a place that you can come to. You don't really have to care. And what's going to happen is you're not going to get the real winners coming to Tottenham. You're just going to get good time Charlies coming to Tottenham, and that's all we're going to have a team of. A team of good time boys. Rolling around in the Bentleys and the Ferraris, racing each other through London, and then stopping off at a fine dining restaurant. And it's absolutely ridiculous. We cannot allow this to happen. We are in danger, and this is why Conte has to stamp it out. Get rid of it so we can get in players, winners, everyone moving in one direction, and take this club back to where it should be. The mighty fucking Tottenham Hotspur.
And I just got one point to add. This is my last point. In my opinion, you also see a lot of the old school players, that regime that came in with Pochettino and challenging for the title. And after they left and you see them leaving, and you see how upset they got with the club and how it's going. You see Lloris, because, Lloris was with a team with the mentality winners. Okay, they didn't win anything, but you can't tell me that team didn't have a winning mentality. They
at least a stronger backbone.
They played every day, and they played their asses off. Whether they were good enough or not, they played their asses off. And Hugo Lloris is now seeing Steven Bergwijn and Dele Alli. Hey, chap, we lost 4-0 to Liverpool, but you want to go ride at our Bentley and, text them their phones. It's a joke. And, you can see it. It's affecting a lot of our, old school players, our legends. It's affecting that whole club. And my last statement on this is that if Dele Alli and Ndombele were water, Jesus wouldn't turn into wine. He wouldn't. That's it, bro. That's my last sentence.
Josh, maybe just to finish up this, topic of Tanguy and Dele, I want your thoughts on this. If Conte were to take a liking to one of them, both of them, if not none of them, which one would you say? Which one would you put your money on?
I'd put my money on Ndombele. In an ideal world,
maybe he might toss both of them out just to be devil's advocate to what Marcelo.
Well, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. At the end of the day, we don't know there's no one that knows more about football than the manager. The manager has a philosophy. He's got a style of play, and if he decides he wants to get rid of Kane, if he decides he wants to get rid of Ndombele, if he decides he wants to get rid of Dele Alli and Lloris, we have to stick by that. There's a reason that we have the best manager in the league, and he's the guy that makes the choices. We just have to get behind the team. Believe in the system. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, well said. And I think we just wrapped it up there. Absolutely class from the whole panel there. Maria Williams saying our players need tough love. No time for holding their hands at every minute of the day. I would love to have them in front of me. I would take no BS. Maria Williams, seems like we need you on the coaching staff as well, Dave, because seriously, she's absolutely advocating for what you, Marcelo, were just speaking about. No more, no more kind of, lovey-dovey for some of these players. No more like, oh, they just need a few more games, then they'll get the confidence. No, there's no more, oh, you gotta, give them another week. The washing machine broke down, and things like that, David. I mean, seriously, it seems like we need Maria Williams in this coaching stack because she's all about, the tough love.
No, she is. Look, Jack, you know what I say for confidence? Rub your body up and baby oil, put a picture on Instagram. You know what I mean? If you want confidence, that's the way to go about it. Look, the thing is, we shouldn't be, Skip's injured at the weekend, okay? So one of these guys is going to have to come in, whether it be Lo Celso, Dele Alli, Winks, or Ndombele. Not any of them are a pillar of consistency. The thing is, we shouldn't be sitting here saying, oh, well, hopefully, whoever gets in on a day performs. We should be sitting here knowing what we're going to get from our players when we put them out there. And we don't. And this has been the biggest problem. And I have no doubt Maria Williams would get a hold of them. Look, so many other people would like to. Look, just shake them down. You know what I mean? This is what you're representing. Some people only have this club. Just do it with pride. We're paying you enough to do it, so just do your job.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, look, if it's a case of someone's not good enough, I can accept that. But it's not that case in Dele Alli. Dele Alli's good enough. He just doesn't care. Ndombele's good enough. He just doesn't care. Lo Celso's good enough. He just doesn't want to apply proper attention to what he's doing around the pitch. He's just flinging passes here and there. Winks. Okay, maybe he's just not good enough. But at the end of the day, it's a big problem. We should know what we're getting out of these players when you put them into the team. And at the minute, we don't.
Feels like gone are the days of the Steve Perrymans of the world, the Glenn Hoddles of the world, the Dave McKays, the Graham Robertses, the ones that you wouldn't have to ask twice, in order to play for the club, the ones you wouldn't have to ask twice in order to play for the badge, the ones you wouldn't have to ask twice in order to give the utmost effort for the fans that are in the stadium. And it feels like, the two players that we were just speaking about, as much as we, might say that the talent is there with those guys, they just don't really, they've stated it even before, even shown us before, that they don't really care too much about the club at the end of the day. But we are going to move on to the next one here, everybody, and is going to be about the very upsetting news having to do with Christian Romero, which basically means we might have to be picking a whole new back three upcoming Sunday. Romero is likely to miss this Sunday's Premier League clash with Leeds. Marcelo, what back three do you see Antonio Conte selecting with no Romero available to begin with?
Look, I'm not gonna go hide around the truth. Eric Dyer, absolutely diabolical. He cannot start. Davis Sanchez, I don't know. We've seen already what he can do and what he can't do. I say just honestly just put Taganga Road on, and I think we're gonna, even though I think Eric Dyer is diabolical, I think we're gonna have to put him there.
What about Ben Davies? Would you rather have a Ben Davies
Or
in
Ben
that left
Davies.
side center back?
Actually, yeah, Ben Davies as a left side center back, I would rather have than Dyer, because, in my opinion, we need someone there with experience, right? But the issue is everybody that we have with experience is shit. Like, unfortunately, it's just true. Like, it's just true. Toby has left, Jan has left, and I said it. I people fought me against this. I said I would rather sell Dyer and keep Toby or Jan. Keep one of them in the team, because you know what? Their legs are gone, but you know what they have? They have a brain, they have experience, and if you give them a young lineup, they can organize it. Like you see Thiago Silva, what he does with Brazil.
Ageless.
He lost his legs, but he still has that brain, man. He still has that defender's mentality, and you see Marquinhos now, how well he's doing under his leadership. So in my opinion, we should have kept them both, but. We're in trouble, man. I'm not gonna kid. That the fact that Romero got injured really, really scares me, because just thinking about the possibility of Davies, Dyer, and Sanchez starting, and
it's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, like honestly, like I'm not even kidding. I think Freddie, like honestly, like I'm getting like already like a fever dream just thinking about it, and I think Freddy Cougar might come in and kill me. You know what I mean? Like it's, oh man, That's worrying, man. But
stuff we don't deserve. I'll tell you that, Marcel. It's stuff we don't deserve. But Josh, Marcel has talked about the inconsistent center backs that obviously we do have. Do you feel like maybe the likes of a Sanchez, even a Dyer, a Davies, do you feel
Sanchez
like
needs to start? Sanchez needs to start.
I was going to ask the question. Do you feel like will they be more solid? Could they be a bit less inconsistent with maybe a back three behind them?
Obviously, we're going to suffer without Romero. That's a given. Although I'm hoping the injury isn't as bad as what it has been made out to be. Like he's got to go for scans and stuff. Yeah, he might have just had a cramp. We don't know the severity of the situation. What?
It's a cramp.
No, we don't. You never know. He might have had a cramp. You never know. Like he got pulled off. He was obviously hurt, but he has to go for scans yet. So we can't really determine whether or not he's going to play. If he doesn't play, however, Dyer cannot start. 100% Dyer cannot start. I want to see that back three consisting of Ben Davies on the left. I want to see Davison Sanchez in the middle, and then I want to see. I've lost my train of thought.
Joe Rodon, Tanganga.
Yeah, Tanganga. There's the back three there. What I don't like, I hate this narrative right now that people are going, Davison Sanchez has been useless. Yes, he has been, but as is every other single player on that team for the past 5 weeks. Conte is a different kettle of fish when it comes to managers. He will get those players playing, and if he doesn't like the way they're playing, he will not play them. Davison Sanchez against Vitesse, when he come on, was absolutely incredible. The guy was up and down the pitch, and he took a head injury, got straight back up and started playing on again.
But what about all the miss kicks, kicking fresh air and everything else? Like I know you. Look, I know
it's all about composure. That's what I think can be taught.
Do you know what? Look, all I'm saying. Look, you were saying there that it's been the last 5 weeks. Everyone has been off for the last 5 weeks, but he's been off since he's come.
Yeah, when has he ever really been given a chance? Since Jose took over, when has he ever been given a chance?
I'll tell you where he's been given his chance, right? So he was brought in long term. You had Toby and Jan Vertonghen. Davinson Sanchez was supposed to be one of their replacements. Both of them have gone. He's still nowhere near the starting 11.
Because he hasn't been given when has he been given? What?
I disagree with you. I think Dyer. Okay, I'm not saying Dyer is a good center back, but I think he is a better center back than Davison Sanchez.
Oh, I disagree.
And I will say why. Because I think Dyer. Okay, he doesn't have very good footballing techniques, but he has a big body. He's a big guy, and he can,
he's a bigger fridge.
He's just a bigger fridge. It's simple as that.
He's a wider fridge.
He's just very physical, and he's and he has he covers a lot of space. That's about it. Now, the way I'm making it sounds like I don't know how to, talk about football. But trust me, I don't think Eric Dyer is a good defender. But Davison Sanchez, in my opinion, I can never trust that guy to just put him there with a fresh, without playing any consistent games and get a result. Every time we put him there with, just start his game, every time he always failed us. And in big games too, that we needed him to stand up. That West Ham game, comes to mind. We put him in there fresh. He didn't play a couple games. We put him in there fresh. Guess what happened? We went from 3-0 to 3-3. And it was most of his fault. And we always get that with Sanchez. We always do this. We always say, "Oh, he hasn't getting a run of games." Listen, you're always at your best when you're not playing games. You're always at your best when you're not playing games, especially when you're a shit player. Because
if that's the case, go on.
Because this is what we say about Dele Alli. Oh, we got to give Dele Alli a chance. Oh, we got to give Winks a chance. They haven't played. Oh, this and that. Like, you're always your best when you haven't played.
Because you're not in the memory anymore.
You're not in that memory. But trust me, as soon as you see Davison Sanchez play again, you're like, holy shit. Like, this guy is horrendous.
If that's the case and Sanchez is that bad of a defender, then why is he the bottom of the list in terms of players that we need to get rid of? Because the first 4 people that come to mind, Dyer, Davis, Winks and Dele Alli. And it's always Davison Sanchez isn't a consistent member of that list because he isn't as bad as what people say he is. Right? He has got a fantastic vertical. The guy gives heart. He's a much better choice than Eric Dyer. When Eric Dyer, the past 2 games, Eric Dyer's let goals past him. It's been his fault. Why have we not put Davison Sanchez in that place? Why is he always...
But the thing is, Josh, if he is better than Dyer and Davies, then why do managers consistently pick Dyer and Davies ahead of a Davison Sanchez? Last 4 managers.
That's the last 4 managers. This is Conte. We need to forget what's happened in the past. It's all about Conte.
We're talking about Sanchez being good enough. Look, I know we have Conte now, but if Sanchez was good enough, why hasn't he been in the last 4 managers' teams?
Because he consistently hasn't.
Because obviously he wasn't included. They weren't part of his plan. He wasn't part of that manager's plans. That's the end. That's the be all and end all of the matter. He wasn't involved in that person's plans. It's like
manager's wrong though.
I mean, too many cooks spoil the broth.
Maybe. I think we're not going to be done with this. So let's just get through some of the super chats, though, because they are piling up a little bit here. And also, everybody really appreciate all the support. True Sets Free. I believe this is a donation. I haven't seen him in the chat. So True Sets Free. Really just want to big yourself up. And also, hopefully, everything is going all right on your side of things. And really appreciate, again, all the continued support that you showed, David and I. Really goes a very long way and really do appreciate it, my man. Moondog saying, I hope we start playing Rodon. And we will get to that, Moondog. So just want to say, we will get to that. That's part of a part 2 of this sort of question. And so just want to say I am going to get touch back onto it, and you just absolutely are starting a huge thing. You're almost kind of telling the future here with that one, Moondog. So just want to big yourself up for that one, and we will answer that. Trust me. Kuva99 saying our only center back is out. Dyer and Davies are probably playing. The question isn't who replaces Romero. It's where the best place to pray and or cry is, where the nearest monastery is, where the nearest church is, wherever you choose to worship, wherever you choose to maybe have a good old cry. Maybe it's just in the bedroom or something like that. But yeah, everybody just grab your favorite pillow, grab your favorite tissues, because this is going to be a tough one. Like Marcelo and I said before, it's the stuff of nightmares having Romero being out like this. It really is. But Kuva99 as always, really appreciate you as well also for cheering us up a little bit there. D-Trex Kane saying big up guys. Marcelo, what a creative Marcelo was a creative mid.
What's a creative mid?
What's a creative mid?
We had an argument with Will Stewart. Will Stewart said creative mid is a position. So, and we were saying no, it's just a role. And we went about it for like about, I don't know, 10 hours.
D-Trex Kane with the inside jokes. D-Trex Kane with the inside. Big yourself up, D-Trex. And also really appreciate as well, actually, all the support that you showed the second channel. Really do appreciate it. This guy has an excellent European knowledge, D-Trex does. Paul Markey saying, Jesus, how could you select Davies? He's not fit to carry the water bottle. Go Rodon, Dyer, and Sanchez. The only reason I think Davies is playing is because he was born as left-footed. I really think if he wasn't a left-footed player, that would be the only reason, he's getting into the side right now at the moment.
I'm not gonna lie. Out of that back 3, like if we were to choose, I would have kept Davies, Cutie, and dropped Dyer. The original back 3. I think Davies, he's actually been playing pretty well. on left center back side. Not saying he needs to be, a starter. He's definitely not good enough. But I don't know. I think
Making a better
there's
case to keep his place. He is making a better case than others to keep his place at the moment.
To be
That's certainly it. It just speaks to the level of dross that you have to be above, which isn't very high. It really does. But Paul Markey, I definitely feel like, the only reason he is in that lineup right now is just because he's left-footed. And kind of like what Marcelo said, maybe apart from the Man United match when he played left back, he was pretty atrocious as a left back. And maybe that left-sided center back, who knows? Maybe it's Davies' unique role. Maybe it's that kind of hybrid, kind of thing situation for him, that maybe that's his best position. But definitely would go for someone like a Rodon, definitely over him. But we are going to move on now, everybody, to a bit of an interesting topic here. And I feel like lots of people prefer Rodon over Sanchez and vice versa. Lots of people prefer Sanchez over Rodon. They're kind of two different players that seem to never really be picked by the managers when you kind of think about it. They never really do get that consistent run of game time. So if you had to pick, you guys, who do you think is better and who would you prefer? And who would you maybe just answer it as well? If you had to pick between one of them to move on, Rodon or Sanchez? David, what about you? Who's your case? Do you take Rodon? Do you take Sanchez?
I'll keep Rodon, to be honest with you. Look, for the chances that Rodon has had, I think he's been, especially last year, amongst all the crap, Sanchez, Dyer, look, Alderweireld was poor. Rodon was the shining light out of all of them last year defensively. When he was given his chance, he took it. Look, for me, you look where Rodon's come from. He's come from Swansea. He's come into Tottenham. He's had a much bigger step up than what Sanchez has got coming from Ajax to Tottenham. Sanchez was playing in a Europa Conference League final, which, may I add, Jose targeted him to win that final. He openly said it as well. But look, when it comes to 1 second, when it comes to look, you look at the amount of money we spent on Sanchez compared to what we did for Rodon. Look, with Sanchez, for me, he doesn't learn from his mistakes. Balls over the top of his head, he still gets caught out with them. Look, he had a bit of a decent game against Burnley when he came on. He was, when he played, he was winning everything, But look, for me, I still think he's rash. I still think he's. I just don't think Sanchez is a good defender. I'll be honest with you. Look, any defender that has troubles with balls coming in over their head is a massive problem for me, because all it takes is a striker to run onto it, get that first touch sweet.
Too easy.
And we've seen this time and time again when it comes to Sanchez. Okay, maybe he's improved his passing a little bit, but defensively, I just don't think he's great. I'll be honest with you. Look, for me, I would rather keep Rodon. Rodon, I think he will get better. I think he will keep getting better the more he plays. Look, at the end of the day, it's still up to him. Look, if in either situation, we wouldn't be talking about any of them. They wouldn't be. We would actually have world-class defenders. But right now, considering what we spent on Rodon and what we've got back in exchange compared to what we spent on Sanchez and got back in exchange, I would say keep Rodon, sell Sanchez. Look, Sanchez was brought in to replace Vertonghen, to replace Alderweireld, to step in when one of them are injured. He hasn't been good enough. Every manager that's come in the door has deemed Sanchez not good enough. You know what I mean? He's always not in their plans. And for me, I just, for what we spent on him and what we've seen, I just can't believe we spent that money on him. Look, Vertonghen and Alderweireld, they're both been and gone. Vertonghen is gone a year and a half now. He still hasn't been able to step in and take that position. You can argue he's not left-footed. I don't care. Centre-back, plenty of centre-backs that are right-footed played on the left-hand side before. Why does it have to be different for him? Then you look at Alderweireld. He's now gone. He still hasn't come in and stepped up to that role. And that's what he was bought for. If you're not going to do what you're bought for, get gone. Rodon was brought in to cover. When Rodon plays, he covers well. Last season, he was one of our best defenders. With how much of a disarray we were in, Rodon was covering across left, he was covering across right. And he's had some good games in the Spurs jersey. So for me, just with the sheer amount of money that we've paid for Rodon, I'd be keeping him and selling on Sanchez.
I think that Sanchez has a bit more sell-on value when you kind of think about it. So probably if you were to move one of on a bond, it might be Sanchez. But what would you say then, Marcelo? Because I feel like, two of them at one point, they both were left out of the team for some time. But maybe if you watch that Vitesse match, I know it's definitely not a match that anybody wanted to watch, but that match away over in the Netherlands, felt like Joe Rodon, though, was a bit more the shaky one than Davinson Sanchez was. And also this season, and this isn't saying very much, Marcel, playing devil's advocate here, it feels like Davinson Sanchez hasn't necessarily played too poorly. In fact, the matches that he has played, he's played very, very aggressively. He's kind of, in terms of the stats, has come out great. But of course, we see the shaky moments from Davinson Sanchez. But it feels like this season, we've seen more shaky moments from Joe Rodon. It's almost like they've maybe switched places a bit, where Joe Rodon last season was very, very solid when all the rest of our center backs were so shaky. But it feels like at the moment, Davinson Sanchez, 2 degrees, maybe, making somewhat of a comeback, but I don't know. I mean, for me, Marcelo, actually, it feels like maybe, and you can take me down right now after I say this, please do if you feel like it. But, I feel like Davinson Sanchez has more attributes of becoming a great center back because they are around the same age. So if you were to pick one to have a higher ceiling, it feels like Davinson Sanchez is that one. He has better aerial ability. He obviously has more recovery pace. He definitely has a much better passing range than Joe Rodon. I feel like Joe Rodon's passing range isn't spoken about enough. I feel like the guy can barely pass it any sort of distance at all, let alone ping a pass. But what do you make of that? I mean, if you had to pick between the two, if you had to stick by one for, the rest of the season, who would it be, Joe Rodon or Davinson Sanchez?
Look, I saw Joe Rodon not being able to deal with a goalkeeper kick against Gundogan, who's 5'6". Couldn't deal with in the air against Gundogan.
Oh, you mean Sanchez?
Yeah, Sanchez. I'm sorry, not Rodon. Sanchez. Okay, I've seen that man get out muscled by a midget. All right, so in my opinion, Sanchez, I have seen every time he played, David and I, and honestly,
more of a walking meme.
you can honestly Photoshop it. How many times have David and I just like, oh my God, what has he done? And just put our heads on our head and just completely baffled by the things he's done. This is the definition of Davinson Sanchez. He's good until he is shit. And when he is shit, it is by far the worst thing you've ever seen in a defender. The guy he is just so shaky, man. He's just so shaky. If he can prove me wrong, I'll be very happy. But as far as I'm concerned, last season, every time I saw Rodon,
he was more solid. He was more consistent. What do you make then of this season? I feel like in this season, Davinson Sanchez, though, like take yourself back, take yourself way back, to the first match of this season, where I feel like Davinson Sanchez was actually the better between the two of him and Eric Dyer, actually, when you think about it. And also, if we were to pick maybe a season where Davinson Sanchez hasn't been his worst, probably might be this season, because I can't think of too much wrong he's actually done this season so far. Not saying that that's a high level, not saying it's a high level, yeah, but what would you maybe say, Marcelo, to that, where I feel like maybe Davinson Sanchez, 2 degree, is maybe playing at his best, and I can't believe this. I'm saying that this is his best, but I mean, what would you say if you had to pick between the two right now in current form? It feels like Sanchez is playing a bit better than Rodon.
Rodon. I'm telling you, this guy. He can only play for 30 minutes, but after those 30 minutes, he is completely useless. He just completely loses his head. Especially, let me tell you this, and I'll ask you this, and I'll ask this whole panel this, and you can all answer this. If it's a 1-0, right? We are winning 1-0, and there's 89 minutes left of the game. There's 3 minutes left. Who will you trust keeping that 1-0 lead? Davinson Sanchez or Joe Rodon? Be honest.
I would, God, that's hard, because I feel like I don't really rate both at the moment. I would probably go Joe Rodon maybe in that last 3 minutes. I agree with you. But this is my feeling, though, is that in the back three, my feeling with Joe Rodon is just simply the technical ability is where I'm starting to lose faith in the guy. I feel like he has a ceiling so far when it comes to his ability to play the ball with his feet. He's a bit shaky. Sometimes his first touch can be pretty atrocious. You see the guy clear his lines when he has all the time in the world. He doesn't really have very much composure. At the same time, though, to be a fan of Joe Rodon in this case, the guy is so much more no nonsense. He knows how to just, be, just a no nonsense defender, just be kind of that guy that just clears his lines, doesn't think about it later, where, Davinson Sanchez would rather just sometimes fall on his face and eat grass, in certain moments. But if I were to pick a player on technical ability for maybe Contes' kind of system, I probably would go Davinson Sanchez. But what about you, Josh? I mean, just to answer Marcel's question, 3 minutes left in the match, you need to keep that clean sheet. Who are you putting your money on? I think you're on mute.
You're on mute, buddy.
I'm putting my money in that sort of situation. I'm putting my money. What are we talking about, as a centre back or
as a centre back? Yeah.
Okay, Rodon.
Yeah.
Rodon out of the both of them is the only one that can play that centre back role. We saw it against. We saw it when he played for Wales. He was centre. Ben Davies played on his left. He's the only one really that can fill that position in. Any other time, I'd take Davinson Sanchez. But specifically for a centre-back position, it has to be Joe Rodon.
What do you say, Dave? I think I know your answer, but who would you go for maybe to keep that clean sheet?
Nah, look, I go with Joe Rodon. Look, we've seen with Sanchez time and time again. He's prone to a switch off. Look, so is Dyer, so is Davies. Let's not get any beat around the bush here. They all are. But for me, if I'm going to keep that, I think Joe Rodon is less prone to switching off than what they are. So for me, I'd be picking Joe Rodon all day long.
Interesting. I feel like, everybody has much better arguments with Joe Rodon. I've tried to play a bit of devil's advocate for Davinson Sanchez while trying to be a neutral host. I would just quickly say maybe my feeling on Davinson Sanchez, the reason why maybe I want to give him potentially more of a shot is just because I feel like he has a higher ceiling still than Joe Rodon. Not to say that, he's done anything to maybe prove that, but at the same time, I feel like Joe Rodon, there are moments when I see the guy and he kind of does defend sometimes like a championship or League One center back where he just, doesn't really have a left foot. He doesn't really have a ping pass. Doesn't really have any good ball carrying ability. But at the same time, like Marcelo said, if you need someone just to keep a clean sheet, there's definitely no one better than Joe Rodon in comparison to Davinson Sanchez. So it kind of goes both ways when you think about it. But I feel like Marcelo's question is quite damning, and the answers are quite damning. Definitely does prove the point with Joe Rodon. Tottenham Tantrum here saying Paul McGrath played with bad legs. That's a legend. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's just sad that we're even talking about these defenders in the comparison to the likes of the Graham Roberts, the Paul McGraths, the Steve Perryman who played also as well in defense, the Dave Mackay's of the world. It really is sad that now we're talking about which one is better, Rodon or Sanchez. Really is sad.
Paul McGrath used to play a lot. He used to play absolutely steaming. He had a big drinking problem. Look, Paul McGrath, football's changing the way. Look, you hear the likes of, I've heard about Daniel Sturridge, that if he doesn't feel 100%, he just won't play. And that's why his career took the path it has done. You know what I mean? But back in the day, it was no question. They went out there and played. But the reason why they don't do it now compared to where they used to is because they don't need to risk it. The money's so good nowadays. They don't need to risk that. Look, you have players that walk around now with knee problems and, it's affecting them later on in life. But they risked it because they needed the appearance fee. They needed the bonus, whether it be a clean sheet bonus or an assist bonus. You know what I mean? Nowadays, they just don't need it. So you're not going to see them put their body through the abuse that some of the older guys, used to, which I'll be honest with you, is a shame. Look, I believe sports should be full contact. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, if you're, you know what I mean? But look, it is what it is. Oh, yeah, sorry, man.
No, well said, David. Honestly, I really agree, especially, what we were just speaking about earlier connects back to what Dele Alli and Tanguy's case is. They're players, David, that, would play on a full bottle of wine probably better than what Dele Alli and Tanguy would play. It really is sad how far, the players' commitment has gone because they think they have all the motivation, all the things in the world, the best training facilities, the best paychecks in the world, to motivate them to play to the same commitment, but yet they still somehow find a way not to be able to do it. True Sets Free says team is 4 transfers away from a major trophy. I feel like if you bring in the right sort of players, the world-class players, you bring in a world-class backup striker. I know I keep saying backup striker. You bring in a world-class striker. You bring in a world-class holding midfielder, creative midfielder. You bring in a world-class central midfielder, and then a new world-class center back. I think you do have maybe potentially a team that can get in a trophy. I feel like we need 2 midfielders, definitely a new striker, and then as well probably a new world-class center back, and then we could probably fix a whole lot of problems at this club. But True Sets Free, I could not agree more. Well said, my man.
To add to that comment, and I don't want to hold up too much, but I'm going to copy Jamie or Carragher, what he said. He said, it's never as bad as it seems, right? This situation that we're in can be quickly fixed now with Antonio Conte. You get him the players he wants, we can quickly turn around. But it only becomes better if we do something about it. If nothing is done, it will get worse.
That's well said.
I had a discussion with a couple of friends yesterday, and they said, if we can, as long as Antonio Conte can bring in the players that he wants, which we know there's a short list of about 4 or 5 players that he desperately wants. If we can get those players in next year, we will genuinely contend for the Premier League Championship, Premier League title. Genuinely, that's not a over exaggeration. We would genuinely contend if Antonio Conte gets what he needs.
Well said, everybody. Well said. Paul Markey here saying, what's pissing me off is the club is focusing on McKennie and letting the chances of getting Kessié slip away. Spursy. I mean, Paul Markey, I know that you're an absolutely huge fan of Kessié, especially like a lot of people over on the second channel. When I did that Kessié video, there are so many people basically coming out of the woodwork, is basically saying, I've been following this guy forever. He's been one of my favorite players forever. I can tell why, honestly. The guy's an absolute baller, as well as he rocks the small shin pads and socks, which is a man after my own heart, I'll tell you that. But certainly, I feel like Kessié, I mean, I hate to put down, a guy from Texas, in the case of McKennie, but I feel like Kessié is just a whole different breed of a type of player in comparison to McKennie. McKennie, I think, has a great future. I think he has a great ceiling, but Kessié, I think, is already world class. I think he's already world class. For McKennie, I would not say that.
Or even Brozovic.
I want both. We even asked before, and we won't get into it, but I did kind of say, and I think Paul Markey disagrees with me, but I kind of see where he's coming from. He wants that box-to-box midfielder. He wants that person that's just that all-action midfielder to come into the side, especially in Contes' 3-5-2 kind of system. You might say that Kessié is desperately needed, but I certainly feel like Brozovic would solve a lot of problems as well. But I totally agree with you, Paul Markey. I feel like we're definitely settling for a whole lot less if we bring someone in like McKennie instead of Kessié. I think you probably just, honestly, you break the bank, you break open the vault, I would say, to bring in Kessié. You certainly would, especially considering that you might be able to get him this January instead of maybe in the summer when probably every other club will be after him on the free transfer. But big up, Paul Markey. Really appreciate it, my man. Truth Sets Free says, hit up those super chats if you can. Help these great men sustain and grow our favorite channel. Thank you. God bless. Very, very nice of you, Truth Sets Free. David, anything to say, Truth Sets Free?
Nah, look, big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate that, my man. I really do appreciate it. Look, it's a massive help. You have no idea how much it actually really does help. Every content creator, And look, we're not stupid. We know how the world works. We know not everybody is in a position to be able to do it. You know what I mean? But if you can, and you did, and you really like the content creators, why not? It is a great way to help support them. Big up, Truth Set You Free, top man.
Thank you very much, Truth. Also, again, hope you're keeping well, my brother. Hopefully you're keeping well. Moondog says maybe we could swap Telly with the tea lady, maybe even the canteen lady as well. Honestly, maybe get a double transfer for that one. Absolutely. Honestly, could not agree more, Moondog. That's a Kuva comment right there. Well done, my man, Moondog. Well done, my man. Just want to maybe settle this, everybody. If you had to pick your back three, no need for an explanation or anything. Maybe keep it short. If you had to pick your back three for maybe this upcoming match with Leeds, and obviously no Romero is available, who would you go for? Maybe to set it off, I think I would go Joe Rodon, Ben Davies, just because I'm pretty sure Ben Davies is going to keep his spot, and I think it's a bit ridiculous, even though I don't want to see Ben Davies in it. I feel like he is going to keep his spot. So I'm going to go Joe Rodon, Ben Davies. Maybe you guys convince me, but Jaffa Tanganga, I just want to see Jaffa Tanganga play a whole lot more. I really do. I just want to see him play all the time. But, I mean, who would be your back three, David?
Look, I know Davies is going to play, but you never ever hear me say I want him to play. So for me, I'm going to go Joe Rodon. I'm going to go Jaffa Tanganga. Look, I'd probably throw Moon Boots in there, even though that's killing me to say it. But, look, that's the three I'd go with.
Marcelo?
Go Ben Davies. Rodon, and Dyer, probably. Yep.
He's gone for the true predicted lineup. There you go, Marcel. Appreciate that. I could tell that pain, dude. Josh, what's your back three maybe come Sunday?
Left to right, Ben Davies, Joe Rodon, Davison Sanchez. Eric Dyer won't start because Højbjerg's possibly injured. Oliver Skipp's suspended. We need a central. We need the central defensive midfielder. I don't see Harry Winks starting. Eric Dyer will play CDM.
That's an outside the box shout. Actually, well done, Josh. Actually, well done on that one. Outside the box shout there. True Sets Free saying Kessié is overrated.
If Eric Dyer plays CDM, we're fucked. You might as well cancel the match.
He doesn't have the mobility.
Well, it just gives him allows him to be further up the pitch, though, be able to hit the ball into the River Thames when you think about it. He wouldn't have to hit it from so far back. It'd be easier to hit it out of the stadium when you think about it that way. But definitely an outside shout. Who would I rather have? Winks or Eric Dyer there? Kind of crazy. I might actually prefer Eric Dyer, honestly, there than Harry Winks if I had to pick, honestly.
Don't be surprised if Conte gets a tune out of Harry Winks, though. Don't be surprised. I could see it happening. It's going to happen, you know it, because Conte's one of these players. He turns the players the least expected to turn around. He turns them around. Don't be surprised.
That would definitely be polishing more than a turd. It'd be polishing diarrhea, I tell you that. The True Sets Free says Kessié is overrated, but best available Spursy. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like Kessié. Oh, sorry, said overrated. I don't really think so. I don't really think Kessié is overrated. Sorry, I misread that. I thought he said underrated. I think Kessié is very well rated. In fact, I don't think he's underrated. I certainly don't think he's overrated. I feel like he's very well rated at the moment. I actually think he's world class, Kessié, especially if you're talking about that box to box midfielder, if you ask me. But David, I mean, anything quickly to say the truth? I mean, I have to disagree with him in this case, honestly.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. I do disagree. I actually like Kessié. Look, for me, I think the reason why he'll probably have a better career than Ndombele, technical-wise, Ndombele is better, but Kessié just gets it. He just gets it. You know, he wants to be a professional footballer, and I actually think he's a good player, to be honest with you. I do want to disagree with Josh on Winks, though. I'm sorry, I have to. Look, you know, I wasn't going to, but I have to. Honestly, look, we can say Conte is going to come in. He's going to change this. He's going to change that. But look, you're not going to get any better out of Winks. Winks has peaked. He's reached his level, and that's it. Look, there's nothing Winks can do in his team. There's nothing Winks offers. You can say, let's put him in there and be that sort of footballing midfielder. But you can't, because he's just going to pass it back to where it came from. And that's not what we need. Second of all, you can't put him in there because he doesn't have the physicality, because he just gets thrown around like a rag doll in there. Third of all, anytime I see a midfielder that's running with the ball and needs to be tackled, I'm like, okay, Harry Winks, where are you? He's standing over there pointing at someone else to do it. Yep. He's not good enough. The guy is just not good enough. Look, and I'll be honest with you. Look, I admire the optimism. I absolutely love it. But if we think Conte is just going to come in, sprinkle some fairy dust on Harry Winks, Dele Alli, Ndombele, Ben Davies, Dyer, and all these other players, we're sadly mistaken. How many times do we have to see the proof is in the pudding? Pochettino didn't even want to use half of these numbskulls. Yeah. They were nowhere near his team. Jose Mourinho had to rely on them. He didn't want to use them. In fact, he was using the likes of Sissoko and stuff like that before he had to go anywhere near these guys. Nuno had to rely on these guys. You know what I mean? And it's just, how many more times do we have to keep bringing in managers and just seeing the same crap and then be going, oh no, it's the manager. Let's get in another manager. And now Winks is going to be the all-incoming player that we've seen against Real Madrid 20 years ago.
It's going to turn into an Iniesta.
It was a one-off game. It was a one-off game. The goal against Fulham, a one-off game. It's all you ever get from these guys. Look, no matter how many managers you bring in, you're not going to get much different out of them. You might see little different aspects come out of them, but you're not going to get what you need at Tottenham Hotspur. These guys are a massive part of the problem where we are, where we're at, because either they're not good enough or the application isn't there. No matter what you do, you can bring in all the training staff. You can bring in all the managers you want. It's not going to change. What needs to change is the players.
Let's not forget though. I mean, like Conte has a he's like the Heston Blumenthal of the footballing world. If you think about whoever thought that he would bring in Ashley Young into Milan as a left back, he did. Did it work? Yeah, it did. Who would have thought he would have put Victor Moses as a left wing back?
Ashley Young was playing at fullback at United, so he wasn't the first one to do it.
Yeah, and also, Ashley Young is a Premier League winner, man. Like,
yeah, but do you want to? At 34 years old, do you want to see? Would you honestly have seen him in any other world going to Inter Milan and winning a title there?
But Josh, look, I've seen this in a lot of players, right? Players that have won, championships, but then they declined, and then they get that manager who gets that fire back into them, get the best out of them, right? But you have to have that winning mentality. Ashley Young, believe it or not, people like to shit on him, but he has a winning mentality. He has a very good mentality. Harry Winks does not care other than tucking in his shirt and looking good for the cameras and looking like a Tottenham captain. That's all he cares about.
There's a lot more behind it. It's not just the fact he brings in these players. Inter Milan weren't winning titles. First season he's there. He makes one or two signings, wins the title. He goes to Chelsea, makes Victor Moses a wing back. Victor Moses absolutely excels in that position. They win the title. There is nothing saying that Conte isn't going to come into this team and at least one of these players that we're writing off, he'll get a tune out of. There's going to be one.
With you, but it's not going to be Winks. I'll tell you
isn't the difference though in that case though is just that isn't the difference quickly? Isn't that the case that Harry Winks has been being played in his ideal position and he just can't perform in his ideal position, where in the case of Ashley Young and Victor Moses, they kind of were being put in a different position, told what they needed to do, and, you know, do something differently, take, you know, look inside themselves for a different sort of, you know, kind of play style. Where with Harry Winks, it's like, just say, you know, sorry, you know, you're continuing to try to play in the position that you just don't excel in.
No, the difference is, look, the complete difference is the difference between Victor Moses, Harry Winks, and all these other players we think we're going to get a tune out of. Victor Moses, believe it or not, was actually one of the most sought-after footballers in England growing up. He had potential. That was always there. No one could tell me Winks was sought after when he was growing up. Dyer, you know what I mean? All these players that they were described as a wonder kid like Victor Moses was. He was grown up. You know what I mean? And eventually, you know, he got into a Contes system, a Conte team, and fulfilled his potential. Yeah, maybe in a different position than what people thought. But that was always there. With Winks, it's never, ever been there. Ever. No one described him as a wonder kid or a world beater when he was growing up.
I haven't
even know his name.
I haven't. I've slated off the majority of the team at one stage. But like I've said, do not be surprised if at least one of these players that we are writing off, it could be Winks, could be Ali, could be Giovanni Lo Celso for all we know. There will be one player that we are writing off that will turn around and become a key member.
I think we're trying to say is that Winks falls on the bottom of that list. I feel like we're trying to say
100%. But there's going to be at least one player.
One player. Yeah, Josh, one player. But so far, you've named Dyer, Davies, Sanchez, you know what I mean, Dele Alli, Ndombele, Harry Winks. That's 5. He's not going to do it with 5 players. We're talking about one player out of a crop of about 9 or 10 bad eggs, or says even less, maybe 8 bad eggs. But look, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say every player is going to turn around, because he's not. He's not going to do it with Harry Winks. How many times do we have to be told? How many times do managers have to keep telling us the guy's not good enough? This is a guy that had the audacity to go on and knock on the Champions League winner's door, asking for football. Now, the thing is, he shouldn't be in a position to ask for football, because he should already know what he needs to do better to get into a manager's team.
He did it recently.
How many managers? How many other managers do you know that can go into a team and turn around players?
But Josh, we said this about look, Pochettino didn't use him. He was one of our greatest ever managers. We said this about Jose. It didn't happen. When Ryan Mason came in, because he's buddy and he butters their balls and slaps them on the ass every time they go out onto the pitch, he's going to get something out of them. He didn't, right? We said this about Nuno. Nuno's going to come in and do this with that. He didn't. I'm not going to expect Conte to come in and do it, because he's not. At the end of the day, the only way we're getting out of this mess is by rotating the squad. And we'll get onto it in a little while we need to, because you look at Steve Hitchens' signings, they're absolutely shambolic. Absolutely shambolic. So, look, at the end of the day, you're just not going to see much better out of these players. We've had 4 or 5 different managers now. Even the players we're talking about Dyer and Winks, they were never actually a part of Pochettino's plan. They only ever came in if we had an injury, or if we if we wanted to rest the player. But they were never, ever actually part of his plan. If they weren't a part of his plan, why should they have been a part of Jose's plan? Why should they be a part of Nuno's plan? Look, if Pochettino wanted to rotate this squad because he knew what was coming, the decline of Alderweireld, the decline of Vertonghen with the age and all, he knew it was coming. He knew that Dyer, Winks, Davies, and all these players were not the right people to steer the ship. And that's why he asked for funding. That's why he wanted to do the rebuild. And it never happened, because he could foresee what's coming. And what's coming is, and what's already happened is, not so much now, because Conte does have a bit of a different squad to work with, because we've already got rid of a lot. We still have to get rid of a lot more. But the problem is that, like, Pochettino seen it coming. Jose was set up for failure. Nuno was set up for failure. Ryan Mason coming in, an interim manager, was set up for failure, because these guys are not good enough. Poch didn't want to work with them. He wanted to rebuild. Why should we expect other managers to come in and sprinkle magic fairy dust on them and say, voila, you're not Winks anymore, you're Winksy Enio. You're not Davies anymore, you're Dave Maldini. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. They're not good enough. I want them to succeed. I want them to be good enough. But look, I'm not going to sit there and watch them after one game and sit there and say, yes, we're back. Davies, he's solid. It's not going to happen. At the end of the day, they've had their chance. They've had their runs in the team. All of these players have had a consistent run in the team at some stage and have not took their opportunity. Now, why at Tottenham are we expected to reward failure? Keep rewarding them. Yeah, no, look, it's a confidence issue. No, look, his washing machine broke down. He had to drive his washing over to his mother's. Come on, give him a break. You know what I mean? I'm fed up.
Come on, David. Bergwijn is still recovering from that Liverpool goal, from missing that Liverpool goal.
But I'm just fed up with it. I'm not going to keep rewarding failure. I'm not going to keep being slapped in the face by the same failures of same players. You know what I mean? And sit there and reward them and give them a run in the team because they feel they need it, or, you know, because they want to play football. You want to play football, be better at your job, train harder, do the right things, get into the team and take your opportunity. People can say, oh, well, they've come off the bench, played 10, 15 minutes there. At the end of the day, any youngster that comes through, they're expected to take their opportunities with 15, 20 minutes off the bench. And then what it wants to do to get into the team. Why can't we expect the same from a Welsh international, a French international, Argentinian international, England internationals? Why can't I?
Yeah, that's very, very well said, David. And I feel like maybe just the case is that Josh is just saying it will be somebody. I don't think it's going to be Harry Winks. If I were going to bet the house on it, it certainly won't be Harry Winks. Definitely will be someone else that he will turn around and turn probably their career around, at least under his tenure. But I don't think it's going to be Harry Winks. But Drew Sets Free saying not scooping up Bruno Fernandes, or Bruno Fernandes was like canceling dinner at a fine Italian restaurant and heading to McDonald's to see what's on the menu. I swear everybody's up with the Cuba comments tonight. Everybody's up with the Cuba kind of humor. But David, I mean, we did go for Gio Lo Celso instead of Bruno Fernandes. I mean, it just feels like, you know, it's just, again, it's like night and day, those two different players. I feel like we'd be a whole different club. We'd be in a whole different position right now if we had Bruno instead of Gio. We're still waiting for Gio to come good. And also Bruno even as well. We all knew that Bruno, in fact, wanted to come to Spurs and was also expecting to come to Spurs, but somehow that didn't come through. Maybe it definitely had to do with a certain Daniel Levy, a certain bald man upstairs, but it also could have had to do potentially as well, though, with another maybe bald man that we will be discussing later as well. But David, anything quickly to say the truth maybe about, you know, us not getting Bruno?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep this quick. Look, you look at the difference on the pitch. Bruno Fernandes cares about what he does. He cares about his passes. That's why he gets all the assists, wins all the penalties, and is involved in all the goals. Gio's just like Custer. He couldn't care, doesn't care with it. And that's why that's the difference in the 5 million.
Yeah, maybe you go. True Sets Free says, when Kessié gets here and folks start moaning, remember I said he's not the answer. Vlahovic is the answer, though. Love the show. I think, you know, I appreciate all the support. Really appreciate the donations. But, you know, I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I feel like Kessié will definitely answer a lot of our prayers. I feel like he will solve a lot of problems in the squad. I don't think he's overrated whatsoever. I don't think he's underrated, but I'm certainly not going to say that he's overrated. And I feel like we wouldn't be moaning if we brought in Kessié. I think we would see a huge improvement, considering that what we're used to is maybe what we were discussing earlier is the Harry Winkses of the world. And I'm pretty sure that Kessié would certainly be a whole different type of sauce. And I do mean, you know, the good kind of sauce. And yeah, but I really appreciate you loving the show. And I definitely feel like Vlahovic is also the answer, though, but we do need an answer in midfield. And the reason why we need to fix the midfield first is because we haven't created any chances this season. The chances do come from the midfield. They do come from your wingers or your wing backs. It just has to come from the midfield first. You know, I feel like if we didn't change the midfield at all, Vlahovic would be going through the same troubles as Harry Kane is right now. Yep. So we have to be able to fix the midfield first, and then we can bring in Vlahovic. We need to bring in Vlahovic as well, maybe even at the same time, but we need to fix that midfield first, and potentially Kessié could be that answer. But really appreciate the support, and I hate to say it, just might have to agree to disagree on this one. True Sets Free also says, though, that Chiesa, Vlahovic, Bastoni, and Brozovic equals a trophy. I mean, this guy honestly has fine taste. I would love all of those. Which ones are realistic? Brozovic could be realistic. Vlahovic is somewhat realistic to a degree. Bastoni, I feel like, is untouchable, but we can all dream at the end of the day. And I feel like Chiesa is a bit untouchable as well, but we can all dream at the end of the day. Marcelo, anything quickly to say? I mean, that certainly would guarantee a trophy. I'll tell you that.
Oh, 100%. But, you know, also I think Brozovic is very doable. I think Vlahovic, honestly, Vlahovic, it needs to be done right now. Like, we need to get, like, come on, let's go. You know, we can do business before the window opens. We can already start talking with players. There's nothing interfering against that. He said he already won't sign the fucking contract. Daniel Levy, just pick up the phone and call the guy and convince him already, all right? I don't want to go through another January transfer window when I'm waiting until the last day to see if we're signing a guy for a penny less, all right? Just get on the train and just move, okay? I'm sick and tired of it. So, you know, Vlahovic already should be here. Like, let's be real here. He already should be here.
We all know that, you know, his agent is saying no to Arsenal's calls. Maybe Daniel Levy will just find it within him, you know, to pay that extra, you know, bill. Maybe he'll probably take those Serbian call fees, you know, out of maybe Vlahovic signing when you think about it.
Listen, it's about time we stick it to those Gunners. I remember, you know, David remembers better than me, you know, back in the old days where, you know, they used to get all the top players and players used to reject us to go to them. It's about time things switch around. Come on, Daniel Levy, give us some fucking pride. Like, give me some ammunition so I can just, point at these gunners and, just fire at them with banter and, just absolutely trash them over Twitter. Come on. I need that in my life.
Cuba99 says, if we pull off the ultimate Spursy and nobody improves under Conte and we win nothing, we'll need divine intervention because this club is cursed. I feel like at that rate, I think I answered this once before. If that's the case, then we honestly might need to unearth, the stadium, look at the foundations, and maybe we'll probably uncover maybe 400 Arsenal kits, buried underneath the stadium. And then we'll just have to figure out where the curse is. Might even need to bring some sort of voodoo doctor into the stadium, to fix probably the curse. Because I will actually say, and I don't really believe in this sort of thing, but I definitely would say divine intervention would be the least that we would need. Honestly, it would be cursed at that rate if that nothing were to improve under Conte. And definitely, we all know it would be a certain bald man upstairs that probably we could, say would be the reason. But if we brought in players, if we, got out the deadwood and we still couldn't improve, then yeah, I would probably start to believe that this club is forever cursed.
Yep.
True Sets Free says new form of torture created for the bad prisoners equals making them watch the first 12 games of Spurs this season with the offensive highlights on repeat. It'd be a short video, I'll tell you that. True Sets Free, it'd be a short video, but watching it on repeat certainly would be like a Chinese water torture of sorts. Certainly would be, but I definitely feel like they should all maybe just watch their own highlights from this season, all these players, and just show the absolute dross of chances that they've created this season. And definitely, I think that would go to the midfielders.
That's the scary part. I don't think they care. I think they know their shit. I think Bergwijn is well aware that he's shit. I think these guys, and Nobelli is very well aware that he doesn't
try.
And Deli, it's impossible. How can you be? I just don't think they care as long as their money is secured and their bags secured and Daniel Levy is sacking manager after manager and they pull out the same PR stunt. I don't think they care. They're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. I really agree, actually, Marcel. And hopefully maybe this would be the right, to a degree, True Sets Free. Maybe like Marcel says, they probably just wouldn't care, watching those highlights. But hopefully at least we know it put them to sleep. It certainly would put me to sleep watching those highlights. But really appreciate all the support, my man. But we are going to move to a very interesting section, a very interesting question on this one. We will be discussing, in fact, some of these Dross players that we have had, brought into this club. And this is the very interesting one. I kind of want David to start on this one, but Steve Hitchens is still at the club working alongside Paratici. Below is a summary of Hitchens' transfer business when Paul Mitchell left the club in 2017-18 and before Paratici came as well. No matter how much Daniel Levy has held back Steve Hitchens, David, did Hitchens still fail to impress you as a talent scout and as a transfer operator? We look at those transfers, those incomings over the past 4 seasons before Paratici came. This is also when Paul Mitchell left as well. So this is just when Steve Hitchens was in charge. Sure, absolutely sure. Daniel Levy held him back considerably, but you maybe look at all these transfers in front of you, David. I mean, not a lot of good ones, maybe when you think about it, as well as also a lot of people that he certainly overpaid for as well.
No, look, at the end of the day, it's shocking. Let's run through this list. Davinson Sanchez hasn't been in the team since we got him. Cannot get into the first team. Lucas Moura, okay, fair enough. Look, he got us to a Champions League final. What can you say? Serge Aurier, wanted to make all of us break our TVs and turn it off. Absolutely shocking. Been and gone. Absolutely crap. Llorente, fair enough, came in, done a job.
Good player.
One fight.
But maybe overpaid for him when you think about it. Like 14 million, that you could probably get you could get a Chris Wood in, right now for 14
Do you know what? He did score some important goals, though.
That's fair. I do. You gotta love that. You gotta love that elbow, or you gotta love that hip of his. That score, or that upper thigh. That upper thigh. Yeah, maybe 14. I would pay 14 million for his left thigh. I would pay 14 million for his left thigh. In terms of what he came in and done, it wasn't a bad move in terms of a backup striker. Look, you look at one fight, never worked out. Gazzaniga, never worked out. All right. So far in 2017-18, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, out of 6 players, 3 are no longer here. 4 are no longer here. 1 is still playing and the other one can't get into the team. Crap window. You look at 1920. Ndombele, way overpriced. Hasn't been fit since he's come here. Bergwijn, way overpriced. Has been shit since he's got here. Session, he's way
been
overpriced.
Way overpriced as well.
Yeah, and overpriced. Lo Celso, overpriced, and it's been crap. For what we paid for him a couple of months under Jose Mourinho is not good enough. Jack Clark, nowhere near the first team. Gedson Fernandez, brought in, never worked out. Shocking. So out of that window, not
That's
one
just
player.
all misses.
Not
Those are
one.
just
None.
all misses.
Okay? All misses. Let's go into, or let's go back to 18-19. Cameron Carter Vickers, well, I think they were loans out.
That's the infamous season where nobody. So this is where maybe you play a bit of devil's advocate and you realize that maybe Steve Hitchens was held back a bit. But if we already go into this right now, we can just tell that certainly. I mean, at least so far, with the money that he was given, the guy did miss a whole lot. I mean, I don't care, honestly, at the end of the day. When you do think about it, you're not given that much money. I understand that he wasn't given that much money. I understood that he was constantly told, to be shopping at the pound shop. But still, you can still find a good, buy every once in a while at the pound shop. And certainly when he was even at the pound shop, David, feels like he overpaid a bit while he was there. Move on to 2020, 2021. Gio Lo Celso is then purchased for £28.8 million, overpaid. Sergei Reguilon, maybe a good transfer fee, but at the same time, a lot of people haven't been convinced yet by Reguilon, so a bit of kind of a toss-up there.
I think it's a good buy. 27. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, other than really Robertson, Tierney, like for me, Reguilon, he's a top 5 left back in the league. He was 27 million, getting a top 5 left back in the league for 27 million. That's a steal.
After my own heart with that, Marcel. I just try to play, a bit more neutral on it because some people aren't convinced by him. Matt Doherty paid 15 million pounds for it. That is one of the biggest waste of money we've ever seen. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, that was an absolute steal when you do think about it. When it was only 15 million pounds, the same price they would pay for.
That was more Jose than it was
Hitchens.
Hitchens. Because Jose
Joe Rodon. We asked for a proper centre back. We got Joe Rodon. Look, he's better than Sanchez, in my opinion, but is he what we need at the club? Is he good enough for Tottenham Hotspur going forward? No. Carlos Vinicius. Honestly, you could have paid me to come in and do the job he done. So when you look at what he's done while he's been here, it's been absolutely shocking. No, you're talking about what, 2-3 players out of everyone that you'd probably say, they're decent enough buys. The rest have all been misses. Hardly any of them are at this club anymore. He's had an absolute stinker. Jack, he has to be held accountable. How is this guy still being given a job? At the end of the day, look, we all berate Daniel Levy. But with the money you're given, you have to do better. You have to do better. At the end of the day, whatever money he's given, he has to go out and get the right players in for this club. And he hasn't. And he has to take a massive responsibility of the reason why we are where we are right now.
What do you say to the people then, David, that say it's all Levy's fault? It's actually just a smokescreen for, Levy. Do you feel like, as much as it is Daniel Levy that has held him back, do you feel like he still could have done a whole lot better with maybe what he had available to him?
Yeah, of course he could have. Of course he could have. Look, we all blame Levy, and of course, rightly so. But at the end of the day, this guy has to take a bit of the blame. You're paid to do a job, and he's completely mishandled it. He's completely made an absolute bollocks of it. And that's why our squad is in such disarray. Out of all them signings, you should be getting at least 60% right. The guy's got about 10% right. It's absolutely shambolic. How is he still walking around there? Why is he not down cleaning the canteen for the canteen ladies after they made dinner? It's an absolute joke. The guy who's bought in, paid big money to do a job, to take Tottenham, to oversee a bit of a rebuild, bring in the players that Pochettino needed to be able to push on. And he's completely failed at his job. It is not good enough to have about a 10-15% ratio in terms of transfers. We've all seen the list. It's absolutely shocking.
Some of these were 100 million spent in a whole window when you think about it as well.
That's it. But that's it. Like you look at where the money's gone. It's been absolutely shambolic buys. Yeah. Shambles after shambles after shambles. He has
you can argue
responsibility. He has to.
You can argue in Paratici's short time at the club, he's already made better signings.
We're going to get onto that, Marcel. We're going to do a bit of a comparison there. Maybe we might as well just do it right now when I think about it. Might as well just do it right now. We just saw maybe what what Steve Hitchens did in one window, everybody. So maybe might as well then compare it to what Paratici has just done in one window. Look at, again, I think I do need to compare some of these because Brian Hill was brought in for £22.5 million. That is practically the same price as someone like a Ryan Sessegnon that we brought in, if not actually a few million less than someone like a Ryan Sessegnon. Emerson Royale was brought in for £2 million less than a Ryan Sessegnon. Papa Matasar, we know, will come good, and he's still absolutely a steal when you think about the talent level that guy is at. We haven't even paid for Christian Romero yet. And then Pierluigi Golini is maybe the only miss when you think about it. Compare it to, Steve Hitchens' windows, Marcel, when you think about it, those are probably, what is that? 4 out of 5 compared to Hitchens, which were every time 1 out of 6.
All right,
2 out of 6.
Can I just see Hitchens' first transfer window? Let's just compare their first transfer window.
And also,
right?
this is just quickly. This 17-18 window is his first window because Paul Mitchell left in the beginning of 2017. Then Hitchen took over, in that following time. So this is his first window.
So we got a center. So Hitchen got a center back and Davison Sanchez, right? Paratici got Romero. Davison Sanchez has yet to start for Tottenham. Romero is already a first-team player and is already our best center back, right? We got Serge Aurier, who is a right back or right wing back.
The same price as Emerson.
For the same price. You can already tell Emerson's a better defender. He's already starting for Tottenham. He's already stamped that position. Serge Aurier could never do that. Aurier. He could never do that at Tottenham. Every time we had to switch him around. Often we have to, he was so bad that we had to put Tanguy in there. Just to cover him because he was such a bad defender. All right.
We paid more for Steven Bergwijn than we did for Brian Hill.
Yeah.
And we probably brought Steven Bergwijn around the same age when you think about it as Brian Hill.
Yeah. And if you look at Juan Foyth, right, he was kind of like his first young up and coming prospect signing, right? Never really showed anything at Tottenham. We got our own young signing and Brian Gill, who's already looking like a star, who's already looking like he could be a top player in the future in 3 years' time, right? You look at Jack Clark, right? Doesn't look like he could kick a ball to save his life. Can't even start for the under-23s. And we already got Brian Hill, who's, kind of pushing the starting 11. All right? And he's young. I think he's younger than Jack or the same age as Jack Clark. So these are the signings we got to compare with. And the signings that Paratici already has had it's absolutely night and day. The only thing Paratici really missed on was Galini, but it doesn't even hurt us because it's really just a loan. We can always just sell them afterwards.
Well, I mean, I just want to touch on that as well. Yeah. You have to take into consideration as well, right? When you look at the prices that were paid in the 17 season, that's the same season that Barcelona bought Philippe Coutinho for £142 million. This was the start of when the transfer market value, or the transfer market went crazy, right? In today's market, you get a decent player for what, 50, 60 million? That's the bang average price for a decent player. Compared to what we paid for some of those players, it's peanuts. Like, you're not expecting to bring in that kind of market. You're not expecting to bring in a world class player for 25 million. Tanganga, not Tanganga.
Ndombele.
Tanguy Ndombele was the only player that we spent a realistic amount of money on that you'd expect to have a good player for, right? And we can be critical of that. The rest of the players, I think we're looking too much into the quality rather than the amount of money that we've spent. The money that we spent doesn't match the quality, so it matches the quality completely. You do not bring a world class player in from that point on for anything less than £60 million.
Yeah, but no, I'm sorry, Josh.
Leicester don't.
That is not true. Leicester has done it. You've seen Liverpool. Liverpool paid what, 20-something million for Mo Salah and then 20-something million for Mane.
Good. It worked out for them. Fantastic. It worked out for them.
Also, no. You know why it worked out for them? Because they have a good scouting system. You look at every time. Okay, it's not a coincidence. Every time Leicester brings in a new player for cheap, they always turn out, 90% of the time, they turn out to be worth it, right? Liverpool would do it. It's not a coincidence. It's not luck. It's because they have a good scouting system.
Yeah, they have a better scouting system than us, 100%.
Yeah, so if we're going to be playing...
What do you expect from a team that's genuinely contending for title every year? We don't do that.
But the thing is, if you want to start doing that, it starts from changing...
Investing smart
and getting guys like Paratici in and getting people like Hitchen out. That's where it starts. That from the bottom line.
And it starts with, a fish rots from the head down. The problem is Levy. It's Levy's problem. It's Levy's problem.
Josh, the point is that if you had 100 million still that window, if you had 100 million that window, could we have still spent that better? The question is yes. And if we had a better director of football, yeah, Dave.
I just want to say, look, we can blame Levy all we want. Yes, we know. But it doesn't mean everyone else in their positions that are being paid good money out of money that fans put into the club, that they're exempt from everything.
It's poor investment. It's poor investment from the top.
I'm saying, look, we know it's Daniel Levy. We know the problem is Daniel Levy, but why can't you hold Steve Hitchens to account? He's brought in to do a job. Why can't you hold a player to account? They're brought in to do a job. At the end of the day, they all have, they're brought in to do jobs. They all have their responsibilities. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So they have to be held accountable as well. Yes, everything goes back to Daniel Levy. I always say this, on a macro problem or on a macro problem, which is a big problem, it's Daniel Levy. On a micro problem, you have to look through the business and see what's not working as well. Because Steve Hitchens didn't work out. I get what you're saying about, Coutinho went to Barcelona for 100 million or whatever it was. Great, I get it. But at the end of the day, he still went to spend 35 million on Davinson Sanchez. We're going to be spending a tiny bit more than that now in the summer. And look what we have in Romero. He's already better than what Sanchez ever has. And Sanchez has been here 3 years. You cannot excuse the way he spent the money. Leicester, they haven't gone out and spent fortunes to be able to get where they are. Not the money that you're talking about, Josh. Look at the results they've got from it. Look where they've come from.
Look where they're finishing.
Look what they're doing. Just though, Kyle Walker was sold for £40 million, and we spent it all on Sanchez. We spent all of that $40 million on Sanchez.
At the end of the day, there's such thing as smart recruitment, and we don't do it. You look at Liverpool. They picked up Mane of Southampton. He was banging in goals. He was performing. Of course, he's already come to Southampton. He's performing. They have obviously gone and checked into his background, realised he lives properly, and got him into the club. Who done the checking into Ndombele's background? Steve Hitchens certainly didn't, because if he did, he would realise that he had fitness issues at most of the clubs he's been at. You look at Lo Celso, he would have known. Is there negligence of what he does on the pitch? Yes, there is. There's no one doing proper scouting systems. There's no one doing anything into the players. Look, if you want success, the great Alex Ferguson told you what to do. You need to be able to, yes, if you're going to buy a player, you have to look into his background. You have to look into what sort of person he is. And you look at it. You look at it. Man City bought Benjamin Mendy. Look where he is. Did anyone do the research? Wow. No. You look at other players that brought in, and someone's obviously done the research, and they're in there performing week in, week out. At the end of the day, it comes down to doing your homework. You can afford to get one or two wrong, but this guy has only got about 2-3 right, and that's the problem.
All I'm going to say is Fabio Paratici hasn't even had a full transfer window yet, and we're already assuming that the signings that he's brought in are going to be world class. Come to me at the end of the season when they've had a full season, and then tell me the same thing, because I guarantee there'll be at least 2 or 3 people we throw out.
We're not saying the world class. Is Romero better than Sanchez?
Yes, 100%. Yes, he is.
Right. So therefore,
is Emerson better than Sergio?
Right, you can judge him on that. Is Gill better than Jack Clark?
Yeah, obviously. For now, from what we've seen so far.
Let me finish. So he is better than Jack Clark.
Stevie Beavers
is Emerson better than Aurier?
Well, without a shadow of a doubt.
Right. So what we're judging on, right? So you're saying we can't say all these players are world class and everything else, but already we've gone through a bit of what Paratici's brought in, and you've agreed, I've agreed, and most of the people, they're better than what Steve Hitchens has brought in. So there's no excuses. We can sit here and say, yeah, we judge Paratici at the end of the window. Let's judge him on what he's already done at the first window. His signings are already being better for Tottenham Hotspur than what Steve Hitchens had, and Steve Hitchens has had 2, 3, 4 seasons at the club.
In the short term, yes. But like I'm saying, come to me at the end of the season and then tell me the same thing when we're not tarring those players with the same brush we tar everybody else with. That's all I'm going to say. He needs to have one full season.
Let me clarify something. We don't tar everybody with the same brush. We give players credit that
I'm talking about in general as a Spurs collective. We have a tendency to say this is the group of players that are shit. When at the end of the season, say the same thing.
Hang on. Let me see. We don't just say it for the crack of saying it. Don't say that, Josh, because we don't. At the end of the day, we only say the players that have been crap. And how do I know they've been crap? By looking at their performances, getting knocked out of teams in the cups. Should that happen by some of these players? No, it shouldn't. I've seen teams with under 21s go out there and trash these teams. It should not be happening. At the end of the day, let's stop defending them and call a spade a spade. Let's stop it, because we're going nowhere by doing this. At the end of the day, we don't tar everybody with the same brush. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and hide away from the problems. Son gets all the praise in the world. Kane gets all the praise in the world. Lloris does. Players that have deserved it. Players that have done it time and time again. But don't sit there and tell me we tar everybody with the same brush when we don't. The players that deserve to be called out are the players that get called out. The players that deserve to get praise are the players that deserve to get praise. And it's always been like that on this channel. From day dot. I will not reward failure.
And listen,
will not do it.
If I may add, right? We're talking about Daniel Levy, and we always keep saying how he's the big problem, and he is a big problem. But at the end of the day, Daniel Levy is a tight, C word when it comes to a budget, right? He's a tight bastard. And that 100 million that he gives you is that 100 million, and he's not going to spend any less, right? So if you're Steve Hitchens, you have to spend that correctly. What does he do? Instead of buying De Ligt, he bought Sanchez. Instead of buying Bruno Fernandes, he bought Giovanni Lo Celso. Instead of buying Jack Grealish, he went off and bought fucking Jack Clark. And also didn't he get Musa Sissoko? Or was that a different?
No, I think that was Paul Mitchell actually.
Was that Paul Mitchell? No,
Yeah.
but then he gets Jack Clark, and then he gets all these other players instead of getting Jack Grealish, right? Spends money on all of these and one Foyth spends money on all of these useless players instead of getting Jack Grealish. What I see from Paratici is right. He gets the players that he feels are right. He doesn't just buy players for the sake of buying them. When whatever his name, Anderson, right? Remember when he was opening the market and Spurs fans like, oh, he's a better option. He's a better option. He's like, yes, he is a better option. But Paratici said he's not the option that we need. He's not good enough to get where we want.
I think what I've said
in
is taken out of context.
No, but like but when you see his targets, Kouande, Romero, Paul Torres, De Vrij, Skriniar, you see all these names. None of them you can tell me are shit. When you saw Hitchens scouts, they were absolutely diabolical. You're like, why are we even going in for this guy?
What's been taken out of context, Josh?
What I'm trying to say is if these players that we are bringing in don't perform, we are going to throw them onto the shit pile. Right?
So far
and rightly so. But then at the same time, it's not going to matter if X player was better than Y player if they're both on the shit pile. Shit is shit. This is what I'm saying. I think we are very quick to judge how these players are going to perform when they haven't even been given a full season yet. Right? If Gil makes first team football, fantastic. If it doesn't work out, fair enough. But this is what I'm saying. Brian Gill hasn't even had a Premier League start to my recollection. Hasn't started. Right? Who else have we brought in this window? Romero, yeah. Romero, fantastic signing. Fantastic. Sometimes you're going to get it right. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong. Right? Until we've had a full season and we can actually see how these players fit into the plans, let's just refrain from saying that this player was better than that player. Because for right now, yes, there's a reason that we've replaced. We've brought in Brian Gill to replace the Miller because at the moment, in terms of the plan that we have, Gill seems like a better option. But until we've seen that plan play out and we see how Gill performs, let's just refrain from saying that this player is better than that player. Because come the end of the season, Gill could be thrown on the shit pile, and then nothing more will be said about it.
I'm not going to refrain from it because I'll be honest with you, players that have had 2-3 years at this club and haven't performed, players that have come in already and already hit the ground running, and Romero, Emerson, and like that, why put them down? Why put them down? At the end of the day, they've come in. There's a reason why they've been brought in is to replace them other players who's had all the time in the world, who hasn't performed. At the end of the day, they're already doing more than what some of them players that Steve Hitchens is. The thing is, what we're doing is we're comparing Paratici to Steve Hitchens' windows, and already Paratici's players are better than Steve Hitchens. Yep. We can sit here and say, let's not say this player is better than that, but at the end of the day, they are. Let's not delude ourselves and kid ourselves that all these players are all in becoming and every player at Tottenham Hotspur is good, because they're not. At the end of the day, is Gill better than Jack Clark? Yes, he is. No doubts about it. Jack Clark is nowhere near the team. Now, Steve Hitchens brought him in, not me. But at the end of the day, Brian Hill is better than Jack Clark. It's the truth. I'm not saying any lies. It's the truth. He's better than Jack Clark. We are comparing what Hitchens has done to Paratici. And so far, when you look at the players are better. The players he has brought in, some of them have hit the ground running. Yep. But if you're going to compare Gill, there's no point in comparing Gill to a Lo Celso who was brought in to come in and properly be in the first team. You compare it to Gill, where he is at the minute and what he is, compared to what Steve Hitchens has brought in of a player of Jack Clark, where he was and what he is. He is better. You cannot deny that Paratici's signings are better than what Steve.
You can also tell higher ceilings. You can tell Gill already just seeing his football. He just has, whether he reaches or not, he has a higher ceiling than Jack Clark. When I watch Jack Clark, I can see a bang average footballer, a below bang average footballer. when I see Brian Gill, I'm like, man, if this kid stays dedicated, he can be a top footballer. You can just tell.
Well, we saw what happened when if you're bringing in players that are brilliant players. It's not about whether they're brilliant players. It's a matter of can they fit in the system, right? I mean, look at Robinho, world class player when he went to Man City, fell off straight away. It doesn't. As long as you fit in the system.
The reason why Robinho fell off is because he had a lot of off the field issues.
Yeah, an attitude thing.
And he had court cases in certain countries, and there were certain countries he couldn't go to. That's why he went.
Depends if you fit in the system. If you fit in the system,
it's not, Josh. It's not.
It is.
It's not because he didn't fit in the system. When he came, he was scoring goals. He had a lot of off the field issues. Go and do your research on it. He had court cases in other countries that he couldn't go to as well.
Hang
on. He had an awful lot of off-the-field issues. It's not that he didn't fit the system. It's because his ego was too big, and he didn't live the life properly. There's a big difference between not fitting in the system and not living your life like a footballer and doing everything you can to play.
Fernando Torres, when he went from Liverpool to Chelsea,
didn't
fit the system at Chelsea there, did he? But considered a really, really good player. This is what I'm saying. If you bring in a player, they have to fit your system. If they don't, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. If they don't fit your system, they're going to be throwing the shit here.
But we've seen. Hold on. We've seen all of these players that we mentioned under Steve Hitchens fail under 3 different systems. Like how many systems do we need? Like how many systems do we need?
Again, like I said, give it to the end of the season. Let Conte have his season with Paratici, then we'll see. We'll at the end of the season, we can have a general overview. Because I mean, he's brought in some brilliant players now, but what's to say the rest of the players he's going to bring over for January and the summer are going to be exactly the same kind of caliber.
Already, what he's brought in, he's already equal Steve Hitchens on what he's brought in. He's already equal the players he's brought in. Steve Hitchens has about 2 or 3 players out of that current crop over 4 windows that are any use to our squad right now. 4. Paratici already has 3.
Okay. He knows the way that Conte works.
In 1 window.
He didn't have Conte in yet, though.
No, I know. We always knew we were going to get. We always knew at some point down the line we were going to get Conte. It's no mistake.
At the end of the day, I get it. People don't want to give Paratici praise because Levy is still in charge and whatever else. I get it. But why are we making Paratici our enemy? It's proven. He's already done better in the transfer window than what Steve Hitchens has. Why can't you give him a bit of praise just because he's working under Levy? At the end of the day, he's already done better for the club than what Steve Hitchens has. Steve Hitchens is a lot of the reason as well, why we're in this mess, along with the owner. Mismanagement, poor recruitment, and everything else. But Paratici's coming in to try and sort it out. Paratici has the connection with Conte. He's got him in. At the end of the day, why can't you give the guy a bit of praise where it's due? We can all sit here and say wait till the end of the season. In fact, at the start of the season, people were sitting there telling me wait till January. Now January's rolled around, now the goalposts moving, now it's to the end of the season. At the end of the day, look, we can sit here, we can defend all of Steve Hitchens' signings. At the end of the day, they haven't worked out. 3 different managers, 4 different managers, all different systems, just haven't worked out. At the end of the day, why are we wanting to give Davinson Sanchez another chance, praise him, the likes of this, that, and the other, and then very quick to throw other players under the bus when they've come in and done more than what these guys have offered, and these guys have had more years to offer this. Why are we throwing them under the bus?
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
Seems like we will just have to, at one point, one of us is going to be at the end of this, summer or the end of this year and going to be a told you so. I will say though, Josh, if you thought that, Conte was coming in, I mean, you must be some guru or some genius.
If Paratici got his way with Levy, it was always a given. It was always a given.
Yeah, because he's a Don.
Yeah, but take
exactly that.
I just don't really feel like anybody thought that Conte was coming in once it didn't
happen. My final thought on this whole matter, right? If you look at the signings that we brought in under Steve Hitchens, Ndombele, when he came in, we thought, oh yeah, fantastic signings, absolutely world class from what we've seen of him. He proved later on down the line that he wasn't great. Steven Bergwijn, absolutely fantastic sign, world class. Has proven later on down the line that he isn't.
I mean, Ndombele didn't really cut it right away, though.
I was not excited.
Ndombele didn't really cut it right away. He already said he wanted.
Did you say you're not excited?
I wasn't excited for Steven Bergwijn.
No, okay. Giovanni Lo Celso, everyone thought, oh, he's one of the best creative midfielders in the league.
This is the point, though. None of these guys even impressed from the ground running. A lot of them didn't even impress from the get-go. that's kind of the whole point as well, though. When you think about it, the
My
whole point is that
my point
with
is
Emerson,
it's too
Romero,
early on.
these guys have played well from the moment that they came in. And Dombele, you can't really say that. With Gio Lo Celso, you can't exactly say that. With some of these other players, you really can't say that compared to what maybe Paratici's brought in.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like I'm just repeating myself. So let's
I
just
mean, we're
move on
going to
from the
repeat
fact.
ourselves as well, but I guess it's an agree to disagree on this one, and we'll just wait till the end of the season to see who told you so. The Truth Sets Free says this is for Paro, Catman, Jess, Ishan Khan, and rest of the 3 great positive supporters in the chat who keep uplifting each other. Really appreciate you all. Paro Miguel Escoberto, the absolute goat. Catman Jess is an absolute goat as well, and Ishan Khan is an absolute legend from that talk on Monday. Honestly, was brilliant to talk to him, and he also knows his European football as well. Also, the Canadian, army that is in the Harris Army is absolutely fantastic. A lot of very smart Canadians out there, I'll tell you that. Aaron Dubb saying a donation to get Shamu and the Bond the Cat, both jerseys for the sham 00 on the back. Honestly, I will say that's not not a bad kit to go with, or not a bad jersey to go with the 2 00s. I will say so. Big up, Aaron Dubb. Really appreciate it, and I will be getting Shamu a bit of candy this year for the holidays, and Shamu definitely likes to be able to snack on something. Maybe he can get something for the cat as well. But big up, Aaron Dubb. Kuva99 saying the players lists are roughly the same at all big clubs. Hitchens' problem is he says yes, Mr. Levy, and Paratici says no. This one isn't good enough. David, what do you say to that? Is maybe the difference is Hitchens has always been more of a yes man than Paratici?
Look, at the end of the day, they're responsible for their position. If they want to move on to better clubs that's going to give them money, they have to spend what they have right here wisely. At the end of the day, look, they can blame Daniel Levy all they want. Again, they're like players. They are responsible for their own career. Look, at the end of the day, he got it wrong. I don't see why you can't say it. He got it wrong. The facts are there. The players are there. Just none of them have, only 2 of them have worked out, really. 3 of them.
And maybe there is, maybe to be devil's advocate towards Josh, maybe there is a bit of recency bias with Paratici, but at the same time, you have to say we haven't seen too much wrong yet so far. So maybe that's where potentially we were getting ahead of ourselves. Same time, though, he hasn't put too much foot wrong. Whereas, from the moment that Steve Hitchens, came in, the signings that he brought in didn't really do that great from even the ground running. Whereas, Paratici's definitely did. But I will say also, Hitchens has definitely been much more of a yes man than certainly Paratici has been. And I think that's also an absolutely added benefit. So big up Kuva99. True Sets Free says, I'm glad Kuva's last name isn't 19 and is 99. I wonder what the 99 is for, actually. I do wonder. Maybe it's beyond me. Maybe it's right in front of me. Maybe it's obvious, but definitely love it. Absolutely love it. True Sets Free. I'm glad it's not 19. Just shows the wisdom that he has. Definitely shows the wisdom. Catman just saying, woo, spoiled cats. But that's, lovely to see. Lovely to see. But that was honestly a fantastic debate, gentlemen. Really, really appreciate you guys giving your heart and soul into that one. And we are going to kind of wind it down to something regarding maybe a certain Ryan Sessegnon. And do we think he'll be revitalized under Antonio Conte? Should we start questioning Sessegnon's future if he doesn't impress this season? Marcelo, I'm going to go to you first, if that's all right. I mean, Sessegnon, do you feel like this is last chance saloon for Sessegnon?
Yeah, I would say so. I would have to, because I mean, it's just gotten to a point where it's just, it's either for me and most of these players, honestly, if they haven't recently come in and they haven't been underperforming for the last 3 seasons, and they're not performing under Conte, just get them out. Just gone. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Thank you for nothing, and adios. Just cut loose. I'm sick of it. I'm honestly just sick of it. These players, and I think David and I share the same feeling. And I just want them gone.
He just wants a bit of something new. But maybe do you feel like this is the best opportunity, just quickly as a follow-up, Marcel, for Sessegnon to maybe come good? This is the system to a degree that's designed for him.
I would say this about Sessegnon. He definitely isn't the first player I would get rid of. So, even if he does have a bad season, or if he has a good season, great. But even if he does have a bad season, he's still young, can still go on another loan. He wouldn't be the first player I would be looking to discharge. But yeah, I would say this is his best chance to shine. Definitely under this system, under Conte.
There you go. Josh, what do you think? Last chance saloon for Ryan Sessegnon?
I think it's a lot. The whole idea is, should we be shipping on Ryan Sessegnon if he isn't good enough? We should be thinking about that by like every player, to be honest.
Is this maybe the best opportunity for him? Considering
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. The guy's 21 years old. We've had him since he was 19. There's still a lot. He's still got to develop as a player, right? And I genuinely don't think we should be looking at even contemplating getting rid of Sessegnon unless we bring in another left wing back, because he's going to be
the point though, is that we would just replace him with somebody that wouldn't be as injured,
if
somebody
we could bring him in,
replace that fee, because we brought him in for £24 million.
Yeah, I mean, if we can bring in another left wing back, then maybe look at shipping him out on loan. I don't think the sale's going to be the best thing for him right now. Give it a couple of years, and then maybe we can be we can judge properly. But again, he's 21 years old, hasn't really developed properly as a player. Was playing first team football under Fulham, fantastic. Don't really think he's been given the opportunity. He's made 6 appearances for Tottenham in the 2 years he's been here. It's not really. I think it's very hard to tell. When he was at Hoffenheim, a lot of people were saying he was bang average. But then a lot of people were saying he did really, really well. Again, it's all down to what you see in a player. There's no one that knows the squad better than the manager, the coaches, anyone behind the scenes in an actual football stadium. We can only have opinions as fans. But as my opinion would be, do not ship Sessegnon on for at least a couple of years. Let him develop a little bit more, and then if he doesn't prove himself in the next couple, maybe 3, then maybe look to ship him on.
Good thing on his side is he does fit the English quota at the end of the day, so
exactly that
to his advantage. But I mean, that's not something that we should really credit someone for. But David, Sessegnon, what do you feel like? Is this the best opportunity for Sessegnon to come good in this system?
Look, people said his best season was playing left wing back for Hoffenheim. He's going to get his opportunity. Reguilon's going to need a rest. I'll be honest with you.
He better take it.
Look. He's nowhere near. Look, he's not first off my list, but he's just always injured, man. It's just pissing me off. He's just always injured. He's always on the sidelines. Look, I do think he has potential there. I do think he has potential there to become decent. I'm just not sure. Look,
he started to become a figment of my imagination, David, who's injured so much. I started to think Sessegnon didn't exist.
I'll be honest with you. I probably just think it's another classic case of too much, too young, to be honest. This guy was in the limelight at 16.
Maybe we bought the wrong twin.
Yeah, maybe we did. But you know what? Look, with Sessegnon, I don't really want to judge him until he's probably had a proper run in the team and that. But, at the end of the day, I think we're going to need to keep him around as backup to Reguilon. I think Conte will probably try and work with him at the left wing-back situation. I don't think it's going to be an urgent position. But if I had my way, what I'd do.
Yeah. Well said, David. Honestly, very efficient from all of you on Ryan Sessegnon there. William Kelly saying Enoch, I think it was a good wind down question as well. William Kelly says Enoch and Levy have an axe on their head if Conte fails because they don't back him in the transfer. They also will be gone. I'll pull that new stadium down myself and rebuild White Hart Lane. That's actually maybe a bit of an inside theory, William Kelly, and feel free to respond to this. Maybe that's what we just have to do. If we start to realize that if we fail under Conte, especially if Conte gets the backing and we still fail, I think we just have to move back into the old White Hart Lane because clearly this new stadium is just cursed. That's maybe what it is. That's actually what the curse is.
I think what
probably
needs to
saying it's like Dermot's scenario where Dermot, I'm pretty sure, he did a few things when maybe building a couple other rival, fan stadiums. Maybe that's what happened to us. Is someone, put, a bit of a voodoo spell somewhat on the stadium when they were building it. Maybe they should have vetted out some of the construction workers and made sure they weren't carrying in Arsenal kits into the stadium and things like that. So that's probably what's happened. Honestly, we might just need to move back into the old house so that we know, because the old house certainly has not been as cursed as this new stadium. This new stadium is so much more cursed than the old White Hart Lane, in my opinion. But William Kelly, as always, really want to pick yourself up. David, anything to say to William Kelly on this one?
No, look, he's 100% right. Look, I'm in agreement with him. Look, if Conte fails, Levy's in for a world of pain. Levy and Enoch, I'll be honest with you, I think that will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, to be honest with you. I think no person can sit here and say that, look, Conte is not the right man to be able to do this. Look, if he fails, it's purely down to not being given the proper tools to be able to succeed, especially in a time where we are absolutely crying out for it. Conte, look, we are so lucky. Conte should not be manager of Tottenham Hotspur right now.
Yep.
He shouldn't. We are so lucky to have him. But with this guy, it's proven. You do it his way, you get the best content and you get the best results. You don't do it his way, things will unravel very, very quickly and the guy will just walk. And look.
Rightfully so, by the way, man.
Go on, Marcelo.
No, I was going to say, if he walks, rightfully so, because He's come here to help Spurs.
He has nothing to lose.
He's risking. Well, he is. He's risking his reputation to help us out. And if Daniel Levy fucks around with it, he has every right to walk. And you know what? If he does, good on him, because it would really show the issues at this club. But I hope it doesn't happen. I hope Daniel Levy actually backs him, and we actually move on, because we need trophies at this club, man. Like let's be realistic here. We need trophies desperately. Let's stop this whole project bullshit. We've been under a project for 20 years. It's time. It's time to invest. This is the guy you invested to.
There you go. Well said,
I think if it doesn't work out for Conte, what we need to do as a collective of Spurs fans is storm the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and forcefully remove Daniel Levy from his seat and throw him in the street. If it's good enough for the USA, it's good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. Let's go.
Or maybe just at least maybe the fans could even just rebuild the old White Hart Lane and just just force all the players to just go back into that one. But Jerome, pick up William Kelly. I couldn't agree more. Jerome saying Sassignon is so young that he could still become better, but with him, I don't see it even under Conte. I just hope he proves me wrong. Yeah, Jerome, it feels like a bit harsh on Sassignon, but that's why it's Kaniki answer me. None of the questions are easy, and that's maybe the point of it. But I feel like in Sassignon Case, maybe my only joke about him is I really do feel like the guy's been injured for so long. I start to question whether he actually was a real player. Maybe I start to think he's just been made up, just some person that they just kind of doctor images for in the squad list, like somebody who I just honestly have never seen before. So I will say, Jerome, I hope Sassignon comes good. There's no better opportunity for him. He's been training over the international break as well, returning back from that long, winding hamstring injury that's, tortured him for so long. So hopefully this is his opportunity, and I really hope that he takes it in full stride. I really hope he does. But Jerome, as always, really want to appreciate the support, my man. Really do appreciate you, my brother. Kuva99 says it's an entertaining stream watching the contrast between the four lads. I love watching Jack remaining cool, calm, and collected while the others are taking turns to lose their shit talk at 300 miles an hour. I mean, I will say it's kind of, that's the privilege of, maybe my position. At the same time, it's also kind of the hard part about it. Kuva99 is a lot of times I am playing devil's advocate when I think David very much knows my opinion on things on some of these. And so sometimes maybe it is kind of nice to just sit back in the sidelines, just have the popcorn off to the side and just kind of see how these guys go at it.
Jack.
But at the same time, I do like to try to, sometimes I would like to get in there myself, but I think that wouldn't be the whole point of the show. The whole point of the show is I come up with the questions that basically, unravel the boys like we just seen before. I come up with the questions that basically makes them go at each other like we just saw. And then I kind of just sit back, relax, and watch my evil go to work, watch my evil questions go to work. So Kuva99, really appreciate it. And it's a nice chair to be in. It's a nice chair to be in. I really appreciate you, though, for recognizing it. And also Dermot, again, becoming a gold member. I'm not sure how he does this, Dave. He's always coming in and out of being a gold member, but really appreciate it, Dermot. And again, thank you very much for the contribution, my brother. Thank you very, very much. And everybody, check out Tottenham Tantrum Gold for the OG watch-alongs, for the, the times when Spurs were really the club that we always have meant to be. When you're wanting to get a bit of history lesson, you head on over to Tottenham Tantrum Gold. You can also find Kuva99 over there as well. If you're a big Kuva99 fan, you can head on over there and find him there. William Kelly saying the only curse is Enoch and Levy. It is certainly the curse. Yeah, and it's been a 20-year curse. It has been a 20-year curse, William Kelly. But I do like to think maybe whoever, built the stadium, which I guess was Enoch and Levy, they probably cursed the stadium as well, so it is absolutely the curse. But big up William Kelly. We are going to move on, everybody. Try to get through these before we get to the extra time session. It is going to have to do with the last question before we get to extra time. It is going to be about and this is maybe another kind of good wind down question, the Jack Clark. Jack Clark's contract expires in 2023 with Conte at the helm. Is his future with Spurs over? Is it just cut ties? I mean, you think about it, Brian Hill has been brought in. There's probably plenty of people competing for a spot. We've seen Dylan Marconde come into the side this season before Jack Clark did. Jack Clark made his debut before Marconde, but at the same time, Marconde seems to even be trusted more by managers than Jack Clark. Josh, what do you feel like? Is it just over for Jack Clark? It's kind of been
I think if we're going to get some kind of money for him, we need to sell him now. I think that's Otherwise, we just eat. We know what
the contract expires.
You're lucky we got a Happy Meal.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily get £4 or £5 million for him. I reckon it's just.
I know you're about to say 4 or 5 Happy Meals.
Nah, £4 or £5 million we could get for him. Just stick it in the kitty, put it towards a good player.
I was about to say if he said 4 or 5 Happy Meals, he'd be pushing it.
Nah, 4 or 5 million. I think you stick. Just get something for him. Don't let his contract wind down. But yeah, as for right now,
Is
I
it
don't
already
see it.
over? Feel like for you, like if
Yeah, I
like,
think he's
yeah.
done. I think he's done.
Yeah, Marcelo, it's a
Yeah,
nice little
finished.
wind down question. What do you say, Jack Clark? Time's done.
Yeah, finished, done, over with. Get him out. Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's been very efficient towards the end, Marcelo. I appreciate it. A host dream. David, Jack Clark, Antonio Conte at the helm. Brian Hill's been brought in. We still have Lucas, Stevie B in the books. We've seen Dylan Marcandi come in and make his debut. I mean, Jack Clark, he's just fallen that far down the pecking order.
Not good enough. Look, at the end of the day, we bought him from Leeds. He was in the team. We loaned him back to Leeds. Couldn't get in the team. Should have told us everything we need to know about the guy. Not good enough. Sell him.
There you are, everybody.
Love you,
very,
David.
very efficient from all of you. I guess we can just move straight into extra time. You guys are an absolute dream to work with. I'll tell you that. You guys.
I do want to add, actually. Look, I will add. Sorry, Jack. I don't want to disrespect your question. Look,
no, it's an easy question to answer.
Look, I'll just be brief. Look, with Jack Clark, he hasn't come in. He hasn't bulked up. He doesn't look like he wants to lift any weights to bulk up. At the end of the day, we've seen him in pre-seasons. He tries to skin a player. He just doesn't have the strength to be able to compete. He's taken off the ball too easy. He hasn't took anything upon himself to do anything different to be able to get in the first team. He can talk about the first team all he wants, but that's all it's ever going to be.
And you know what? Honestly, I'm not even going to lie. I honestly want him even more out after that Instagram post where he said patiently waiting. Like,
yeah,
honestly,
Jesus.
Honestly, I never wanted a player out more than when he posted that. I'm like, who the fuck you think? Do you think you're Cristiano Ronaldo or something? Where you're sitting on the bench and you're like,
it's almost more triggering the Dele Alli's post. Honestly, almost even more triggering actually. Yeah.
I'm like, at least Dele Alli has done something as far as this guy has done absolutely fuck all. Like, he can't even skin a under 23 player, and he's like sitting there saying patiently waiting for first team action when Marcandi is literally like scoring hat tricks for fun.
Yeah. I mean, Marcelo, I think you were with me for the preseason watch along. We saw him at one point. I still remember it to this day. The man was doing step overs and he left the ball 6 yards behind him.
And I'm like, no, but like honestly, when he said that, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, Conor McGregor style. Like, I just looked back. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like,
it's the entitlement. It's the entitlement of the tweet. Like, he expects to play. It's the entitlement of it.
Like, I want him gone. Can we get him out like already right now, please? Thank you.
just exterminate the contract. But COVID-99 saying the differences people have heard of happy males. Honestly, a lot of people are even writing down the comments before, like, who is Jack Clark? It's kind of like the Sessignon situation where it's like, wait, who is that guy? I actually forgot who he honestly is at this rate.
Yeah, but like Sessignon is at least he's like putting his head down, like working hard. He has his injury. He's going through a rough patch. He's not tweeting that type of shit. Like when players do that, it almost
Jack Clark
aggravates.
just hasn't been selected.
He's just shit. He's just literally shit.
I think we're reading a little bit too much into it. Like he's the whole patiently waiting. It's not a case of he's entitled. He's patiently waiting for his time to come.
Maybe
that's what he's trying to get at.
Uber Eats order or something like
that.
No,
he's just waiting for his opportunity. I don't think it's the case if he thinks he's entitled. Like every player thinks that they deserve a shot. Hence why there's a reason he wears a Spurs shirt. Like when he was brought in, he was probably promised an opportunity, and he hasn't been given that opportunity, which is why patiently waiting. Even Malachi Walcott commented on that as well, and like I don't rate Malachi Walcott at all. But there you go. And Jack Rolls as well from Palace, he commented on that photo.
There you go.
Man, I don't know. I just hate comments like that. It's just so entitled.
No, I agree with Marcelo. It actually infuriated more than some of the Dele Alli ones. It actually really did, because at least, like Marcelo said, at least Dele Alli, you could say, has actually done something for Spurs where, and seriously, like at the end of the day.
Do you know what? I do agree with Josh, and he probably was promised a chance. But at the end of the day, he has to do more to be able to deserve a chance. Like the thing is, look, no one ever comes to you with the golden ticket. You know what I mean? Sometimes you find yourself in the right position, the right time a chance comes, and you take it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he just hasn't done enough. Look, he's had pre-season. He just hasn't done enough.
Yeah.
Look, do you know what? For me, I actually do think there was malice behind the tweet. I'll be honest with you. I think it was just that he thought he was entitled to play. I'll be honest with you. Look, I get it.
Especially after a loss.
I completely agree with Josh. I completely agree with Josh. Every player, believes they should be playing and believes they're the best. Yes, of course, they should have that mentality. But at the same time, I live in a world where I want realism to be around me. I'm telling them they're good enough when they're just not. I just look, for me, I do think the tweet, I think it was, I deserve to play. And at the end of the day, he doesn't.
He doesn't. Not even close.
When was that tweet made? Was it made three weeks ago?
After the Vitesse game.
After the Vitesse game.
And I think it was a slight because Marcondes was selected, ahead of him. And that's probably what it was. So he's putting down.
To be fair, if you look at his stats from the youth squad for the under 23, he ain't doing too bad.
No.
Marcondes doing better though. At the same time, Marcondes a lot younger.
I think the thing about Jack Clark is he can play versatile. He can play left and right, can't he?
Yeah, we said that about Stevie B though as well. We say that about Stevie B.
He couldn't play as a like a credit card manager in Walmart. Let's be real here. Like, come on now. Like, let's stop it here. Like, oh, he can play left.
We'll see.
Let's stop playing like let's stop pretending.
You never know.
Let's stop pretending like he's fucking Ryan Giggs or Paul Scholes, and you can
you never know
any position in the midfield or in the wing.
Jack Clark.
No. Jack Clark couldn't even be a bartender in a fucking,
if he stays,
place, man.
If he stays, Conte, Jack Clark could be the player that we get a tune out of under Conte.
Oh my God!
We've said this about
imagine. Honestly, he might as well get a tune out of the canteen lady. Then he might as well get a tune out of the canteen.
Josh, you pick the whole squad.
No, just imagine. But imagine it's Jack Clark. Imagine it's Jack Clark.
Honestly, no, I'm not gonna lie. The amount of Spurs fan, and it's incredible how we do this every time. Every time when Conte came in, he can get a tune of this player. He can get a tune out of this player. He can get a tune out of this player. He can get a tune. If Conte had a violin, it would be broken by now. Like, honestly, like the amount of times I've heard he can get a tune out of this player, that player, this player.
There are not enough strings.
There's not even enough strings for it, man.
He'd probably break a harp. It's like a harp of strings.
You just see Conte just like, come on, Winks. Fucking pass the ball.
Well, you've written Winks off on that, but are you really writing off Jack Clark? Are you really writing Jack Clark off?
Yeah, I honestly am.
Has he been given that chance in the first team, though?
Do you know where he
might as well have 3 teams with how many chances we're giving.
Do you know where his chance was? Being loaned back to Leeds. Loaning him back to Leeds. Now, if he can't get into the Leeds first team, now just hear me out, Josh. If he cannot get into the Leeds first team where he currently was playing, then we bought him, then we loaned him back, and he couldn't get into it. Why would we all of a sudden just thrust him into the first team at Tottenham Hotspur? Tell me why. Tell me why he deserves to just be thrust in and given a run of games.
No, fair enough. Fair point. Fair point.
But
he is only 20 years old. Let's just put that one out.
You know what? I'm only 24. Does that make me like able to become a football player? Like, come on now. Like, just because you're young doesn't mean you have potential. There was one point where I was young. There's one point David and I were 20. There's a point Jack was 20. There's a point where you were 20. Just because you're 20.
Yeah, but I haven't. I didn't start playing football when I was a kid.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is just in general in life, people start saying like, "Oh, you have potential." Like, no. Like this idea that you can.
If you start young, you can develop into a player. Jack Clark could be that player.
This idea
again. I think we're going to have to topic a little bit.
I'm going to disagree with you. This idea that anybody can do anything. Look, there's things that people are just naturally better than you at. You just got to find your talent. And unfortunately, Jack Clark chose wrong. Unfortunately.
Did he choose us, or did we? Did he choose us, or did we choose him?
That goes back to Hitchens now, but that goes back to Hitchens. That goes back to the whole Hitchens argument.
If a team like Spurs,
I'll tell you how we got Jack Clark. Marcelo Bielsa recommended him to Pochettino. We suckered. We paid the money. We overpriced. We overpaid, and we took him in. We realized we got sold a dud. Tried to loan him back. They took him back. It didn't work out. Look, at the end of the day, I get it. He's only 20. But, look, Rashford came through at 16. Ronaldo was coming through at a young age. Rooney was coming at a young age. There's levels. Look, maybe if he was at Burnley, I would say he has potential. We're talking about fucking Tottenham Hotspur, man. We cannot sit here in one breath and say we want trophies and then sit here in the next breath and say, Jack Clark has potential. He's
potential.
going to become a Tottenham player. He hasn't been given a chance in the first team. Harry Winks is going to become this. This player is going to become that. It's not going to happen. To think that Conte, it was coming in here. Look, at the end there, the answers are already there. Conte wasn't coming here unless he was guaranteed money to spend. He wouldn't have asked for money to spend if he thought a lot of these players were good enough. He just wouldn't have.
Yeah, I agree. There we go.
There you are, everybody. Tottenham Tantrum Gold saying, great show, lads, all legends, all of you. Really appreciate you, Tottenham Tantrum Gold. I really do appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Dermot, as always. And thank you very much for expressing your enjoyment of the show. It definitely has been a cracker, I'll tell you that. Faz Radfar saying 200 plus in the chat. Please smash that like button. Do what Faz tells you. You got to listen to Faz. He's the Don of the chat right now. Listen to what the Don tells you. But big up, Faz. Really do appreciate you, my man. Sean Snow saying Sane, Salah, Firmino, and Hendo were Hitchens signings while he was at Pool. Includes Bale and Modric in for that. I can't give too much context, Sean Snow, but I'm pretty sure he worked under someone else at Liverpool, to my knowledge. So who's to say whether those were his when it comes to it? Also, I'm confused on which Sane. Does he mean Mane?
I don't know.
I think he means Mane. Because I can't. What Sane?
Yeah, no, but the thing is.
But also as well, though, I
Saudi
know that
Mane,
the
Sana,
Modric case, the Modric thing has been exposed, though, because the Modric thing was that Spurs had already identified Modric and already knew that that was someone they wanted to bring in. Basically, they just told Hitchen to fly out to Croatia and find out, just to prove it, that, this guy's the real deal. Sean Snow just went there and goes this guy, fits the deal. So he was already identified.
Just reading up on Steve Hitchen, he came in to work under Damien Comoli. He wasn't in charge of bringing in talent. He came in to work underneath him.
Maybe he was a talent scout at the time, to maybe be advocate or, play devil's advocate, as I've been doing all night for Sean. But I'm confused because I know he wasn't, at all means telling people what to do at Liverpool. So, how much did he actually have to do with those signings is definitely up in the air, because we all know that maybe it could have been someone else, could have been a different scout at the end of the day too. Yeah.
And on the same, Brett, he also became head of recruitment, head of European scouting for QPR in 2016. And look what happened with the money they spent.
Yeah, that's damning.
QPR changed ownership, though, during that time.
Yeah, but he also had a lot of money available to him at that time. And look where they ended up.
It seems like when the guy's actually given money to play with, maybe he doesn't do so well. Maybe when it comes to actual talent scouting, maybe he's not too bad. But at the end of the day, when he is given the money, at least from what you can tell, when he's given the money, when he's given the purse, he doesn't know how to spend it well. We all know that. I think that's what can be confirmed. But Sean Snow, feel free to enlighten me. Don't need to do it in a super chat. Just, text me or Twitter me, maybe on your thoughts on maybe, so I can get a bit more context. But like I said, can we really credit him for the finding, Salah, Firmino and stuff when there are other talents or other scouts at the time that were there? And also, I'm pretty sure there's actually an article on the Spurs web some time ago about actually how the Modric thing is not as good as we think it was. I'm pretty sure Modric was already identified by the Spurs talent, and he basically was just the guy sent out there on a nice flight to Croatia just to confirm it, from my knowledge. But maybe I'm being a bit biased on it, Sean, so let me know on Twitter or something like that. But really appreciate you for the super chat. Really appreciate you, my man. Kuva99 says, and who knows, I could be wrong, actually, Sean. Who knows? It could be wrong. But I think the point is that when he is given the purse, he doesn't know how to spend it well. Kuva99 saying, a couple of months ago, someone asked me if Jack Clark should get a chance in the team. I genuinely guess they were talking about the Ryder Cup. So maybe that's what Marcelo is saying. Maybe it's just he just picked the wrong talent. Like Marcelo said, maybe just picked the wrong sport. Maybe you just picked the wrong thing to be talented in at the end of the day. But Kuva99, as always. I don't even know how to respond.
You can tell just the way he moves. You can tell, you can tell just the way he moves compared to Brian Gill. Brian Gill has that electricity. When he gets a ball, it's bam. You know what I mean? He passes the ball. It has, attentions with it. When he runs with the ball, there's energy, electricity. He can dribble. He's quick. He thinks quick. Jack Clark gets the ball. He slows the game down by 8 to 10 minutes. He couldn't dribble past. Couldn't dribble past a broom. Like we said, he does a step over and the ball is all the way at the end of the
let
other
alone
field.
A fridge. He can't even get past a broom, let alone a fridge.
He has no pace. He has no running. He doesn't find any space. The kid is just not good enough. Simple as. It's not me trying to bring him down. It's not me trying to, talk shit about him. It's just not good enough. Simple
It's
logic.
calling a spade a spade. It's calling
Yeah.
it what it is.
Yeah, he's good enough for Burnley, but he's not good enough for Spurs.
There you are. Tottenham Tantrum Gold saying Clark and Co need to be sold now. Enough is enough. I couldn't agree more. And I really feel like that Co is definitely a long Co. It probably could be a whole company when you think about it, with how many employees they would have in that Deadwood list when you think about it, Dermot. But big yourself up. True Sets Free says, can you guys break out a song for us? A Spurs ditty for 15 seconds. See if you guys can sing as a team. Team Conte is watching. No pressure. Actually, not even sure what he means, but I guess we can break out in a song.
No songs, man. I have a sore throat, so usually I'm the leading vocals. But look, not tonight, my man. Not tonight. Jack, do you want to sing for him? I definitely don't.
At some point, we could probably do, maybe a Manscaped song for you, probably True Sets Free. We can maybe get that, set up for you. But at the moment, Dave, I probably can't, either, probably just because I can't really think of, maybe, something that I could think of. Maybe, we could do at one point, maybe Adele's, impression of Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur at some point. Maybe we could do that instead. But definitely really appreciate it. True Sets Free. Definitely appreciate it. Just want to say, Sean Snow, again, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we were saying is that he was given the purse when he did come over to Spurs. So maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm just confused. Maybe I'm misreading you. Maybe you're saying Daniel Levy made the changes or something like that. But at the end of the day, he was the guy that was in charge of it at the end of the day. But let's go into the extra time, everybody. Now we can all wind down with a bit of extra time. And it is probably usually everybody's favorite moment, just to be able to kind of wind down with this. And also everybody in the comments want you guys to be giving your answers to these in the chat, to every single one of them. Which one do you feel like is, it's always kind of one word answers, yes or no's, for these. It's very nice and simple, very easy. Probably some of the questions, like always, when it comes to Can Nicky Answer Me, are never easy. But for the extra time here, it says, if you were Spurs' manager, who would you give more time and faith to? A bit of recap from earlier. Dele, Gio, or Tanguy? You had to give time and faith, to one of them a bit more. Who would you give more time and faith to? Josh, I'll start with you.
Tanguy and Dombele.
Marcelo?
Can I choose a gun? I don't know. I know it's going to sound controversial, but I'm going to say Gio.
What?
Look, Jack.
The silence is deafening a little bit.
It's like asking me to pick between my three least favorite meals, to be honest with you.
Which one would you rather eat first, Dave?
I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to pick Tanguy just purely on the basis because if you could tap into his head, he'll be better than what Gio or Dele ever will be.
I probably agree with that. I'm going to go Tanguy as well, but that's probably just because I'm like Sean. I have all the time in the world for my favorite Tanguy and Dombele, just like Sean. Number 2, who would you prefer as a center back? It's 2 parts, 2 different questions. Sanchez or Rodon? I'm going to go Sanchez, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to go with Rodon. Dave, I'm going down to you.
Rodon.
Marcelo?
Rodon.
Josh?
Rodon, simply because he's the only guy that can actually play a centre back out of 2.
Good dig there. Davies or Dyer? Josh, starting with you, going back up.
Neither. No, Davis.
This is really tough, honestly.
Yeah, this is picking
I
between
hate
shit and shit. Which shit would you rather eat first, Marcelo?
I would honestly say, and I hate saying it, but I would say Eric Dyer.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I can't look at Davies any longer. I can't look at that. I'm trying so hard. I can't look at him and blaming everyone else for his mistakes.
Yeah, I hate that.
I can't. One thing I hate is, do you know when he passes the ball inside and then he just puts his head down and he goes? That infuriates me because he can't even pass the ball inside. So it's kind of like, why are you putting your head down and running off when you haven't made the pass? Look, I despise Davies. I never ever thought he was good enough. I want him gone. So I'm going to pick Dyer.
That's tough for me. I feel like Dyer has done more in a Spurs shirt at the end of the day than probably Davies, so I will go Dyer. But at the same time, Davies, I think he's just going to continue to be selected because of that left foot of his. But I agree with what David just said. He just reminded me of something I hate about Davies. It's just how much he loves to blame other players when he's the one who's playing the worst on the entire pitch. That's something I hate about certain players in the game that haven't done anything to, prove themselves as good players themselves. Number 3, which competition would you rather Spurs win? Josh, I'm starting with you. The Europa Conference League or the Carabao Cup?
Europa Conference League, simply because we'd be the first team to win it.
Conference of Champions. Absolutely love it. Marcelo?
Well, if we win the Carabao Cup, that gets us into the Conference League. But if we win the Conference League, it gets us automatically to Europa League. So I would say Europa Conference League.
Very mathematical answer there.
I'll be honest with you, I agree with Josh. You know, I want to be the first ones to win it, but I also love the way Marcelo broke it down as well. So I agree with two of them. So I'm going Europa Conference League.
I've always said it. The Conference of Champions, when we win it, it'll be the Conference of Champions. It'll be changed to a new name. So I'm going Europa Conference League. Number 4, who would you rather have back in their prime right now to fix the team?
That's
David,
a tough one.
Moussa Dembele or Christian Eriksen? Who do we need more right now? And you're picking, them in their prime. Who do you need more right now?
Do you know what? I'll start this. Look, I'll be honest with you. We need both of them. We need Christian Eriksen's creativity. We need Moussa Dembele to be able to get the ball from one end of the pitch to the other. But in their prime, I'm taking Moussa Dembele back. I'm sorry. I just have a soft spot for the guy. I absolutely love them. For me, I'm taking Dembele.
Marcelo?
Fuck, man. You said this was going to be easy.
They're never easy. That's what I said. I tap my evil Levy fingers. I tap my evil Levy fingers after every question.
This is honestly the hardest question you've ever asked me. I would say, look, we're lacking creativity, but we're also lacking such leadership in the midfield and such, power and getting the ball to the forwards. I would honestly say Dembele, because you know why? Because if we can I think we're lacking more the ability to get the ball from the defense
one end to the other,
midfield to the forwards, because we know we got world-class forwards. So we just need someone in that midfield, and we need someone in that defense that can get the ball to the midfield and the midfield to the forwards. So I think Dembele would do that. And he just brought a different type of passion and fight for the team.
They don't grow on trees, Moussa Dembele. Yeah.
And also just thinking him, Højbjerg, that'd be a nasty combo.
I think that's the thing. That's just what Højbjerg needs is, a Moussa Dembele alongside him. That's what he's been crying out for. But Josh.
There's method to the madness, but Moussa Dembele for me, 100%. Even Christian Eriksen in his prime, I don't see him starting over the likes of Moura or Son. I like the two wingers as they are. Don't fix what ain't broken. What we do need is someone that can get the ball up the pitch, and it is Moussa Dembele.
No, he definitely starts over Moura. Come on now.
It's just my opinion. I've got a soft spot for Moura.
Eriksen doesn't start over Moura. I'm Brazilian, man. No. I've
got a soft spot. I like Moura. I like
Moura too. I have nothing against Moura, but he's not better than prime Christian Eriksen.
Christian Eriksen also made, the likes of Dele Alli a whole lot better. We saw some of, a lot of players' best years under those guys. But if you're Lucas Moura sexual, at the end of the day, we're not shaming you for it. You're not shaming you for it. Definitely a lot of them out there. I'm going to go Moussa Dembele just because he's still to this day one of my favorite players of all time for Spurs, at least in my living lifetime. One of my favorite players. He's the first kit I ever got was a Moussa Dembele kit. Now I've honestly totally outgrown it. It doesn't fit my fat, stomach anymore. So that is a bit sad at the end of the day. But I will go Moussa Dembele as well, just like what Marcelo said, just a guy who can just carry the ball from one end to the other without needing, to pass it or anything. Someone who could, carry 3 players on his back and, the shopping bags as well.
He would also fit Conte's system better if you really think about it. He would be perfect for Conte's system.
Where Eriksen had to eventually get in, but he couldn't get in right away.
He struggled with Conte's.
Answering the question there as well, Marcel. Honestly, extra points for you there because that was kind of what the question was. Well done, my man. True Sets Free saying no super chats without a bit of Irish 24, a bit of Irish luck. Obafemi Martins, Levante SC number 24 jersey incoming. My fave player, Arsenal killer. Birmingham City, best backflips ever. Honestly, he also played for my hometown MLS team, the Seattle Sounders, Obafemi Martins as well. Definitely loved the backflips, definitely missed that athleticism. Also, the man did have a, good set of legs on him. That man was absolutely rapid as well. Obafemi Martins, also a decent left-footed player. Yeah, definitely love it. David, anything to say? Any Martins, kind of throwbacks?
Did he not score that winner for Birmingham in the against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup?
I wouldn't know.
Was it him? No, I'm not sure. Maybe it was him, but he did play that game 100%. It could have been him actually. But if it is him, he'll forever go down as a great for me for doing that. Making sure Arsenal lost that League Cup. Look, Femi Martins, I actually liked him. I liked him at Newcastle as well. I have to say, I did like him when he was at Newcastle. The backflips and everything else like that. I was a young lad at the time, you know what I mean? But
who doesn't love it? Does it better than Aubameyang, I'll tell you that. Made much better backflips than Aubameyang. Aubameyang just likes to fall on his face when he does the front flips when you think about it. But definitely Femi Martins, absolute G, absolute OG. But that is it, everybody. That is the end of, Kaniki Answer Me for tonight. So, David, I'll pass on now the duties over to you to sign off. Everybody will say in the chat, really appreciate, the enthusiasm. Really appreciate you guys giving your answers constantly throughout the chat tonight. It's absolutely been blowing up. We kept well over 200 in the house at all times for this one. Really has been very, very thrilling, very exciting. And I do feel like a lot of people really were also, kind of holding the panel accountable with all of their questions or all their answers, all of their comments and whatnot. It's honestly been an incredible engagement. And I will say, really do appreciate it from everybody. But David, off to you now.
Nah, look, it's been an absolute brilliant show. One I've really enjoyed, to be honest with you. I thought it was another cracker. But look, it's the time of the evening where we go around to people and find out where we can't find them. I'm going to go to Josh first. Look, Josh, Kaniki Answer Me, bit of a rough ride today. Sometimes it happens. But one thing I have to say is the reason why we love you is you stick to your beliefs no matter what.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I absolutely love that, Josh. So big yourself up. I thought you were brilliant here today. I know at times you may have felt maybe a bit hard done by or whatever. But look, me and Marcelo are kind of old school. We do sing off the same hymn sheets up. But I have to say you held your own, an absolutely brilliant guest today and a huge contribution to the show. Josh, where can people find you, my man?
All I'm going to say is at the very start of the show, I did say, let's get controversial, and I was controversial throughout the episode. I stuck to my word, boys. You can find me over on my channel, Josh the Tottenham Guy. I've got the brand new live series that I'm doing, a Tottenham rebuild called Operation Rebuild on Football Manager 22. To come over watch that, tell me what you think. Also do the 4 Hotspurs every Friday. This week's on a Saturday at 8 p.m. Because I've got work commitments on the Friday. And you can also find me over at Tottenham Tantrum Gold tomorrow, 7 p.m. We are watching one of the old Tottenham versus Leeds match, I think from '95. I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you like your old school football, honestly, Tottenham Tantrum Gold is the place to be. It's absolutely fantastic. Dermot is a fantastic host. Really, really decent show. Even Jack Konecki's been on there. Jack, you had a great time, didn't you?
Oh, I learned too much also as well. I actually, it proved to me, I've seen highlights of Glenn Hoddle, but when I was able to watch a full match of Glenn Hoddle alongside you guys as well, I really honestly now I'm full belief that guy is one of the greatest players I've actually seen in my entire lifetime. That's just from one match alone.
Yeah.
You guys can learn a lot just from one match, and some of these that Dermot, Kuva99, as well as Josh will show you, as well as Phil Latis when he can join, and plenty of others can join. So I will say, everybody, definitely be there. I was along there with Adam, someone who we all know very well in the chat as well. And he and I were just absolutely, pulling out the notepad and paper, just learning about everybody that are the Spurs legends, the ones that we really should stick by, the ones that we should always remember. And so, yeah, I learned a lot.
No, absolutely.
That's
brilliant,
awesome.
Guys. Do get over and check out, Josh the Tottenham Guy and Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Get over and check out both of them channels. Josh, thank you very much for giving up your time this evening. Really appreciate it. Mate. Absolutely brilliant. Marcelo, my man, where can people find you?
You know it. Tagangsta25 on Twitter. That's where you can find me. Send me a DM. I'll talk to you. I'll reply. Again, just keep it football related. It is a football Twitter account, so none of that personal questions. I would appreciate that. But yeah, no, just hit me up on Twitter, Tagangsta25. That's where you can find me. The OG Tagangsta account, by the way. I'm starting to see some other Tagangstas over there, but I have the OG Tagangsta account, all right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember saying that about you. He had the Tagangsta before Tagangsta even was a thing, it felt like, so big up, Marcel. I will say.
Before he even started in the first team, I was repping Tagangsta.
Big up. OG account name. But yeah.
You love it. And look, Jacko, where can people find you, my man?
Listen, everybody can go find us over. We've talked about a lot of players, even tonight that can still fix, a lot of the holes, a lot of the problems with this team. Maybe now that we have also Fabio Paratici in the building as well, we maybe will be able to sign some of these players that we've spoken about. So you might as well head on over to our second channel. Our second channel is basically where we talk about anything that has to do with Spurs transfers, anybody that can fix the Spurs lineup at the moment. So please head on over to flatcapeurotalk. It's basically a place where you can get highlight reactions to scout reports. And also even now I'm going to try to increase a bit more on the live shows as well. Going to have some people to come on and be able to kind of discuss some of the things that, we can do in order to fix Spurs. It basically is that channel, is our second channel dedicated to practically fixing Spurs. And so I will say, if you're interested in that sort of thing, please head on over to our second channel.
No, and here it is again, just like Josh's channel. It's all been put in the chat when people plug them, guys. Make sure you do get over, check them out, and smash that subscribe button. Look, guys, me personally, you can find me here, always here, nowhere else but here. But honestly, a massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in. A massive thank you to everybody who smashed that like button, shared the stream, smashed the like button, and a massive thank you to everybody who supported us with a super chat. It's a massive, massive help. You actually have no idea how much it really, really does help myself and Jack out. William Kelly says, you can find me at work. Big up, William. At work laying the best floors in Australia, my man. That's what I say, William.
Come
Big
on.
yourself up, brother. Big yourself up. And we also have The Truth Sets You Free. Saturday is almost here. Exciting. Marcelo, getting personal questions. People just seeking out his life advice. Great night. God bless. No, in fact, Marcelo actually does give out good advice, to be fair. He actually does. But big yourself up, The Truth.
He's giving me, pre-show as well in the back room. He's giving me some advice.
Anytime.
No, look,
Truth Sets Free.
Big up, The Truth Sets You Free. But look, guys, it's been absolutely incredible. All the support we've got up till now has been absolutely insane. Let's see if we can drive this baby to the 5K mark. It can only be done with you guys. Keep sharing the channel with everybody. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, a massive thank you. We will be back tomorrow. We're doing a show. We have it all planned out. Not necessarily 100% ready to go, but we'll put the finishing touches and hopefully be back tomorrow with the fall of Dele Alli. If it's not tomorrow, 100% it'll be Friday. But stay tuned. And then after that, guys, we are back with a bang, baby. We have Stats with Jack back Saturday. We have the pre-match build-up here Saturday. Then I'm over on the pre-match pump-up. Sunday. Then over on the pre-match pump-up as well, the watch-along. And we'll be doing player ratings and everything. So we're back into the full swing of things. So make sure you stick with us. But as always, thank you very much. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. In Conte, we trust. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Up Spurs. Leave you out.
In Conte, we trust. Leave you out.